Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description.
From the author, I dared to continue my most favorite Naruto fanfic. I hope that everything will not be so sad. Chapter 7, Land of Snow. Sakura thoughtfully scratched the scroll with her fingernail with an appeal to the Snow Princess. An incomprehensible anxiety overcame her and, it seemed, this excitement was transmitted to the rest of the girls' crew. Hinata had not left the cabin for the second day, as she was suffering from seasickness. The cargo ship rocked rhythmically on the Black Sea waves. Kakura, turning on her allure to the fullest, flirted with the sailors. Kakashi kept his distance from such a passionate woman. The pink-haired kunoichi moved away from the mast, where she was hiding from the hot sun, and headed towards her teacher. The weather was hot, but she knew that soon they would sail into the cold waters of the Land of Snow and would have to dress warmly. Hataki settled on barrels of fresh water, reading the latest novel by the perverted hermit, occasionally casting fleeting glances at the sailors. Kakashi-sensei, the girl hid the scroll in her bag. "Is something wrong, Sakura?" the man asked, not looking up from the pages. "You look worried." "It's okay, sensei." Sakura sat down next to the man. "I keep wondering who this white fox is." Tsunade-sama spoke very respectfully of him, "But he is a criminal." "What kind of person is he?" "He was my father's friend, but I don't remember him well." Kakashi put the book down. "I was only 5 years old when he was declared a criminal. That's when my father committed suicide." "Sorry," the girl lowered her eyes. "What are you apologizing for?" Judging by his voice, Hataki smiled. "The white fox was accused of his death, and he became a criminal. I don't know the details, but I don't believe that he is a criminal." "Why?" The kunoichi looked at her teacher in surprise. "My father called him a friend." Kakashi frowned, not hiding his mask. "He called the fox a living legend. And I believe that he is much older than Hokage-sama thinks. I don't remember him well. I was a child then, but he was a frequent guest at our home." "What did he look like?" Sakura listened attentively to the teacher. "Hinata and I should know what he looks like in case we meet him." "I don't know what he looks like." Hataki stunned the girl. "No one knows. He wears a mask of a grinning fox. I will never forget that mask. He had piercing blue eyes with vertical pupils. He pierced with one look, as if peering into the soul. He emanated such power that it was scary even to argue with him." "Is he really that strong?" "Incredibly strong." Kakura intervened in the conversation. "Should I tell you why the Snow Country refused to recognize him as a criminal?" "Kakura-san?" Hataki tensed up. "Have you met the white fox before?" "Possibly." The woman answered evasively. "But there are few who do not know about him, having visited the Land of Snow. He is revered there as a god. Just ask anyone there and they will tell you a whole legend about him. Guardian of Snow, Snow Warrior, Ice God. They call him by many names." "What is the legend?" Kakashi narrowed his eyes. "Will you tell me?" "I will, but stop addressing me as you." The woman playfully nudged Hataki with her shoulder and smiled. "Many years ago, during times of sorrow, when tyranny ruled the country, a warrior with the power of the gods appeared and overthrew the cruel ruler from the throne. He fought alone against hundreds of warriors, sparing neither strength nor blood. He returned the throne to the rightful heir Hiroko, the throne of snow, and disappeared as suddenly as he appeared." She spoke with expression and feeling, conveying to the listeners her admiration for the deeds of the hero of the legend. Sakura listened to the story with fascination, trying to understand the motives for such an act. "People have a habit of exaggerating everything." Kakashi sighed, embarrassedly moving away from the woman. "I heard about this legend when I was visiting the Land of Snow. It happened almost 200 years ago. Hiroko-sama is the ancestor of the current ruler, namely her son Shirji-sama, who, like his brother, was a disciple of the White Fox." "A student?" Sakura was surprised, remembering the names written in the Hyuga hideout. "The White Fox taught the rulers of the snow? So those names?" "What names?" Kakura turned away from the completely embarrassed Hataki. Isami, Momoko, Shurji, Kimura, and Kazuko. Ah, those names, Kakura smiled dryly. It seems 2 of them are from the Hyuga clan, and 2 are descendants of the ruler of snow, and Kazuko was the daughter of the White Fox. Kazuko? Kakashi rummaged through his memory. Kazuko. That name sounds familiar. It must be. The woman looked somewhere overboard. Kazuko Okanara, and soon Kazuko Uzumaki. Uzumaki, Sakura looked at the woman in shock. So that means. Yes. Kakashi looked at Sakura. Naruto is a descendant of that same Kazuko, but if I'm not mistaken, she was his adopted daughter. Nobody knows for sure, Kakashi, Kakura grumbled. There's no reliable data on that. This fox has a rich biography. Kakashi thought. Kakura-san. Ahem. Kakura looked at Hitaki rather frankly. Kakuraheim, a jonin was found. You probably know a lot about this man. No more than you. The woman chuckled. Only what interests me about him. Can you share your knowledge with us, Kakuraheim? Depends on what you're interested in, Kakashi. The woman answered in the same tone. I'm interested in what you're hiding under that mask. The rest of the conversation was mired in the woman's attempts to rip Hitaki's mask off. Sakura realized that the conversation had clearly gone in the wrong direction, and left the couple alone with themselves and headed to Hinata's cabin. The girl was sitting on the bunk, thoughtfully looking at the necklace Naruto was wearing. Her eyes looked at the precious memory of him with sadness and tenderness. Naruto-kun, she whispered, clutching the necklace in her hands. Hinata? Sakura called out to her and sat down next to her. I miss him too. Sakura-san, Hyuga smiled sadly. You may not believe me or think I'm crazy. What are you talking about? I still believe that Naruto-kun is alive. Hinata wiped away a tear with her finger. He's not dead, he's just somewhere nearby, waiting for us to find him. Hinata, Sakura hugged her friend. I can't accept it either, but it's impossible. No one would survive. Sakura-san, Hinata sighed and put on the necklace. What did you talk about with Kakashi-sensei and Kakura-san? Were you talking? Sakura was slightly surprised. I tried to find out more about this white fox, but the conversation went somewhere else. Kakura-san isn't telling us something. Hinata activated her Byakugan for a minute. She's been acting strange lately and avoiding talking about that person. What made you decide that? The girl became wary. Hinata's behavior worried her. What do you want to say, Hinata? Haven't you noticed, Sakura? Hinata hugged her knees. She doesn't tell us much. Why is she so worried? I'm not saying she has something in mind. She's more likely just afraid of something. I've tried to talk about our secret mission more than once, but she doesn't say anything specific. Only that we need to find this person and give him a message, but nothing more. You're exaggerating, Hinata. Probably, but I feel like something is going to happen. Do you think the white fox will attack us? Sakura asked seriously. I don't think so. Hinata smiled weakly. I feel like he's a good person. It just feels like we're going to meet someone we've forgotten. Don't talk nonsense, Hinata. Sakura waved him off playfully, leaving the cabin, leaving her friend alone with her thoughts. The land of snow greeted the shinobi with an icy wind and heavy snowfall. White lumps of snow swirled in the icy wind currents, forcing the shinobi to hide their faces in scarves and collars. They headed to the ruler's castle on foot, since no one agreed to go out on sleds or dog sleds in such weather. Despite the fact that they arrived at the port early in the morning, they reached the castle only late in the evening. If the weather had been good, they would have arrived by lunchtime. Tired and cold, they reached the capital before dark. They were quickly escorted into the castle, and their business was put off until the morning, allowing the shinobi to rest and warm up. Good, Kakura groaned, wrapped in a blanket and sipping hot tea. It's good that the storm didn't have time to disperse. Sleepy Sakura nodded. And I was afraid that we would get lost. Sleeping Hinata only wrapped herself up tighter and mumbled something in her sleep. The girls occupied one room and were now warming up with tea and finally discussing the mission. What should we do, Kakura-san? I think that to begin with, we need to give the princess permanent security and guard her around the clock in turns. Kakura began, fingering her pigtails. We also need to find out about that heir and, if necessary, eliminate or reason with him. I think that we will finally assess the situation after we listen to the ruler of snow. We also need to take into account the opinions of Kakashi and Hinata. In any case, we need to wait until tomorrow. Sleep, Sakura, and I will be on duty today. Kakura waited until the girl fell asleep and slipped out of the room. She still had some work to do today. Remember how I came back from the land of snow with a broken leg, Tsunade? You nearly broke my kidneys then. I met our old friend there. I think he's not offended by the old stump's actions. And he was right when he told us those strange things at our first meeting. I listened to his advice and was pleased with it. Oh, what warm springs he has at home. You should visit there sometime. That's all that old pervert wrote. It's all pretty simple and looks like a regular note, but Tsunade found a clue where to look for the white fox. The land of snow, that's where this sly one was hiding. Or was he hiding? Now, more than ever, this man's help was needed, because after the Akatsuki's attack, Konoha was weakened. And pain wasn't the only problem. Akatsuki wouldn't back down that easily, and Tsunade didn't know who could stand against them except the fox, because Naruto was dead. I'm counting on you, girls. Find Fox. Welcome to the ice fortress of the land of snow. I am glad that the Konoha shinobi responded so quickly and came to help. The snow princess sat majestically on a golden throne, dressed in luxurious robes. Sakura sadly recalled the past adventures of Team 7 in the land of snow. When the official part was over, the princess looked at the shinobi team, consisting of 3 girls and 1 man. Team 7 has changed a lot since then. Princess Yuki looked around at them. Where is my biggest fan? Naruto-kun died during the attack on our village, Hataki said without any emotion. I'm sorry, the ruler sighed quietly. He's exactly what I was counting on. Let me learn more about what awaits us. Kakura straightened up and looked at the ruler. I understand that the second heir who appeared had a desire to take your throne. That's right. The princess frowned her thin eyebrows. He openly declared that he intends to push me off the throne by any means necessary. He has already tried to kill me twice, but the guards stopped his troops' raids. I'm afraid that he will resort to stronger methods and hire shinobi to kill me himself. That's quite possible. Kakashi was thinking about something. Can we find out the identity of the second heir? Komodo Ratsu, my cousin. He was quietly sitting in his residence while I was winning back the throne, and when the main enemy was defeated, he decided to claim the throne for himself. Coward. Scoundrel. He's the last ass. Ahem, the servant interrupted her. Sorry, the woman calmed down immediately. So much has happened lately. And Naruto's death. I can't believe that such a strong and stubborn guy ended up like this. We all mourn, but he will always remain in our hearts as a hero. Kakashi bowed his head and became serious. We believe that you need 24-hour protection. We'll guard you in turns around the clock. Kakura jerked her chin. And the rest of us will be busy gathering information about the enemy. I don't think we can do anything until we've probed everything properly. Your words convince of your competence. The princess's gaze showed conviction in Kakura's words. But I must warn you that you are not my only guard. Who else is hired to guard you? An old acquaintance. Kakura frowned at this evasive answer, but remained silent. It was he who advised hiring you as additional security. What's his name? Hataki insisted. Kyoshi. The ruler said reluctantly. He's also a shinobi. What village? No shinobi village has power over him. Koyuki smiled proudly. He insisted on keeping his identity a secret from you, so I won't tell you more about him. After discussing a few more issues, and leaving Hinata with the princess, the shinobi left to check the castle. Kakura and Sakura headed to the gardens, and Hataki went to question the servants. Suspicious. Sakura whispered barely audibly. That's the same name as your teacher, Kakura-san. That's right, girl. The woman smiled as if nothing had happened. This Kyoshi is that Kyoshi. Why did he wish to remain incognito? My teacher has a lot of cockroaches in his head, Kakura said jokingly. But he probably has an important reason for this. I would like to see him. I think you'll get to know him again. The woman smiled. Despite his age, he's still a handsome man. Kakura-heim, I ask you to be more careful. There was a faint hint of irony in Hataki's voice. Kakura, sleepy and gloomy, was already nodding off, fighting off sleep. The night shifts had affected her more than the others. 2 weeks had passed since their visit to the land of snow. In those 2 weeks, there had been 3 attacks, each more cunning than the last, and what was most surprising was that the killers retreated faster than the shinobi could do anything. Hataki was at a loss. After each attack, the heiress remained unharmed, and the killers disappeared, having achieved nothing. Kakashi, I haven't slept for 3 days. And who is to blame? You volunteered for the night shift yourself. Kakura muttered something discontentedly, but did not object anymore. She did not want to raise the topic of her night shifts. Sakura carefully looked at the pale and haggard Hinata, who looked with tired eyes at the routes of the guard posts on the castle map. After their arrival in the country, she began to look unwell. The girl turned pale and weak. In recent days, she ate little because of nausea. Her body refused to accept food. As a doctor, Sakura insisted on an examination, but Hyuga refused for some reasons. Hinata also became nervous and began to be tormented by strange sensations. Their mentor looked at the girl with some curiosity, but did not show concern. Kakashi-sensei, don't you think the mercenaries are just testing the waters? Sakura frowned. I think our presence makes them nervous. It's quite possible, Sakura. Kakashi nodded in agreement. Komodo Ratsu is a cautious man. He's clearly biding his time. For example, such a moment could be the ball in honor of the first flowers day, Hinata, who had fallen silent, cautiously suggested. Then a lot of people will gather and a murderer could easily hide among them. Hataki scratched his ear thoughtfully. The ball will be held the day after tomorrow. Sakura, have you studied the guest list? Yes. I am alarmed by the presence of a shinobi guard for one of the guests. Who is this guest? Head of the Path Company. Sakura didn't miss Kakura's tragic sigh. Name? Not specified. Kakashi became wary. The personality of this leader was too strange. Kakura, you said you worked for this company. The man looked at her. What can you tell us about this man? A pompous dandy. The woman muttered with some apprehension. I haven't seen him personally, but I've heard a lot. He also hires shinobi independent of the villages to guard. I don't think there will be a potential killer of the ruler among them. Why do you think so? He is not a stupid person at all and hires only proven and reliable people. After an hour of discussion, the shinobi dispersed throughout the castle, patrolling the corridors. In the evening, the ruler called them to her. Tired and worried, Yuki patiently listened to the shinobi's reports. This ball is very important for our country. I can't lose face in front of the most influential people in the country of snow. I don't want to quarrel with the head of the company put. A quarter of the country's economy depends on the well-being of his company. So the Wei plays a significant role in the country? The shinobi noted with interest. Yes. The princess agreed. The Path Company supported the rebels and helped the country get back on its feet. It also supported me in difficult times. I trust this man. I see. Here Kakashi frowned warily. Princess, what is the name of the head of the company? What's your name? The ruler looked at the shinobi in surprise. Kiyoshi Michio. Kyoshi? Sakura quietly asked herself, glancing sideways at Kakura, who showed no emotion. After the talks with the ruler, Kakura began to avoid talking about Kyoshi. She began to disappear from the castle grounds more often and would come home disheveled and nervous. Hinata felt worse and her nausea became stronger. Sakura insisted on Hyuga's rest and locked her in a room to rest. The attack stopped, but in return, the servants and residents of the castle began to fuss and prepare more actively for the ball. At the insistence of the princess, the shinobi were dressed as snow warriors so that they would not look suspicious. The guests filled the huge hall and enthusiastically babbled about meaningless things. About their successes, the marriage of their beloved daughters, the financial success of their companies, and other boring things. The princess, accompanied by the shinobi, participated in all the conversations and patiently answered questions about her personal life. To such questions, she only answered, "There was no prince who could tolerate my love of cinema and adventures." Everyone smiled and supported the opinion of the ruler. Hinata could barely stand on her feet, but did not complain. Sakura and Kakura glanced at the people, looking for suspicious individuals. Kakashi also did not lag behind them, but stayed closer to the princess. The last of the guests to arrive was a man accompanied by 3 shinobi in identical suits and masks on their faces. The man standing in their circle was dressed in a Chinese-style costume. The expensive silk and veil were striking. His long hair, the color of ripe wheat, was braided into a low pigtail, and there was a medical bandage on his face. Apparently, the man was in poor health or had something contagious. Kakashi was unable to get a better look at him, as the man quickly disappeared into the crowd. In the midst of the ball, when the shinobi had already stopped expecting an attack and allowed themselves to relax, the hall shook in a deafening explosion. A real panic began. The shinobi immediately jumped up to the ruler and surrounded her. A second explosion was heard and one of the walls, shaking, collapsed, enveloping the hall in a cloud of dust. Kakashi and Sakura rushed to attack. The battle was short, but very aggressive. The enemy shinobi, numbering 5 people, fought desperately, but were too inexperienced against the Konoha Jonin. When the shinobi finished with the attackers, another explosion was heard and everyone shuddered from the feeling of monstrous chakra. The white fox himself came to them. He stood and looked at everyone with cold blue eyes, like a predator from the land of death. In the middle of the hall, strewn with corpses, he came out alone without a single scratch. In the destroyed hall where he came out, there were only shinobi and the ruler, who proudly sat on the throne. "You trashed the throne room, fox." "I beg your pardon, princess." The fox bowed slightly. "My men will restore your castle, but may I ask you for a favor?" "Ask, fox." "I have no right to refuse." "Allow me to take the Konoha shinobi to stay with me?" The mentioned shinobi tensed up and Naruto hastened to calm them down. "If I'm not mistaken, then you have business with me." "You know all that, white fox." Kakura jerked her chin. "How could I not know?" The fox sighed playfully. "My much talked about problem student has been looking for me, hasn't she? But you could have kept quiet about the problem one." The girl blushed. "And where have you been anyway?" "Thought about the meaning of life over a serving of wonderful ramen in Konoha." "Have you been to Konoha?" Sakura couldn't help but ask. "Kakura-san's teacher? Are you Kyoshi?" "I have many names, Sakura-chan." Naruto looked longingly at the Konoha people. "One of them is Kyoshi." "What were you doing in Konoha, White?" Kakashi gripped the kunai tensely in his hand. "How did you get there?" "As I said, I have many names. And many guises under which I can get to any place, and I came to Konoha on business. That's where I learned that you were looking for me." "What about my safety?" Yuki looked around the room with a pitiful look. "Have you thought about that, Lise?" "I took care of the rebel." "Don't worry, princess. Then I'll let the shinobi go." The white fox bowed and jumped out the window. The Konoha guys followed him. For about half an hour they simply jumped along the mountain ridge. Meanwhile, Sakura finally decided to question Kakura. "Kakura-san, why didn't you tell us that White Fox is your teacher? And how did you imagine it? A student of a dangerous criminal became a shinobi of Konoha. I would have been baked in prison or given to Danzo for interrogation. But still, I'm sorry. I was just afraid of your reaction." "I understand." Sakura looked at the tense back of the fox, who loomed ahead. "Where are we going?" "To my house," Fox answered instead of Kakura. "I think that your further questions should be discussed away from prying ears. Would you mind staying with me for a couple of days?" "We won't refuse." Kakura tried to hit Sensei with a snowball. "Mom sent you her regards." "I'm flattered." Naruto dodged the snow. "But please hold off on the warm greetings until we arrive." Hinata didn't even seem to notice anything. Her pale face and tense trembling didn't hide from Sakura's watchful eyes. And when, losing her balance, she almost fell into the snow. In some unknown way, she ended up in the white fox's arms. She didn't even notice how she lost consciousness. The procession slowed down and Sakura jumped up. Hinata? Was she hurt? Naruto almost lost his possession. His Hinata was pale as death and breathing heavily. What's wrong with her? She's been feeling unwell for a long time. I need to examine her. Of course, I didn't want to, without warning, but Naruto prayed to the gods that Fudo would have the sense not to show himself to the Konoha people. Hold on to me. I'll immediately transfer us to my house. Sakura was amazed at the luxury of the estate. The white fox carried them and immediately took them to the infirmary. Hinata was fine. Just poisoning, but something was bothering her. After all, this poisoning and other symptoms indicated that Hinata. No, it couldn't be. She had only been with a man once in her life and that was with Naruto, and that meant Hinata is pregnant. Kakashi even dropped his chopsticks. Are you sure? That's probably true, Sakura thought. And where did White go? He's probably hanging out in the library or on the roof, Kakura muttered. He's kind of strange. Why? Worried. Something is really bothering him and it has to do with you. Why? Kakashi asked. Konoha has caused him so much pain in the past that by the history of the genre he should hate you with every fiber of his being, but what happened in the past? Oh. A lot of things. For example, that incident with your father's suicide, Kakashi. But he and Lise were best friends. White's fan landed heavily on Kakura's head. Don't bring that up, Kakura. The past doesn't change the future. Apparently things are so bad that Tsunadeheim has decided to go against those old farts on the council. Have you read the message? Yes, I read it. I'll visit Konoha in a few days. White-san. Kakashi carefully put down his chopsticks. Tell me, what happened when my father committed suicide? It seemed like Lise was smiling from his voice. Nothing. Just a little skirmish with Danzo, and the faked suicide was a great reason to throw me overboard. Fake? What do you mean by that? Sakumo-san did not kill himself. How did he not kill? I guess I should tell you something. Naruto decided to slowly approach the revelation of the main secret of his personality. Sakuma was going to commit suicide and Danzo decided to use this in order to enslave my power, but miraculously Sakumo and I managed to escape. I'll answer another question of yours, Kakashi. Yes, Sakumo is alive. How are you alive? They pronounced him dead, right? The guy guessed. Believe me, Root can do even worse. Where is he? Probably in the land of thunder. Spending her 5th honeymoon with mine. So that man was Konoha's white fang? Sakura exclaimed. Does that mean, Kakashi-sensei, that you and Kakura-san are practically related? We're not related. Kakura slammed the table in anger. And don't look at me like that. Well, what happens? Don't think badly of your father, Kakashi. After all, it was I who insisted on this secret. Why? You see, the future where I started to live is a little different from the one where you live. What do you mean by this? I'll ask you a riddle. Why am I 200 years old if I was born 20 years ago? I don't quite understand you, Kyoshi-san. I'll give you another hint. I died 2 months ago and that's the main reason why I wear this mask. What is the point of this conversation? I have known you all since birth, since I was born and raised in Konoha. And what you hear and see next, I ask you to keep in the deepest secrecy until better times. Everyone silently looked at Naruto, who thoughtfully ran his fingers along the edge of his mask. Only 2 months have passed since my death for you, but for me it has been a difficult 200 years. A war is coming from which there is no escape and my intervention is inevitable. After all, according to my sources, 8 of the 9 Biju have been captured. What is your relationship with Biju? The most direct relation. I am the last Jinchuriki. Are you a Jinchuriki? I have been like this for the last 200 years. But that's impossible. Hyubi is the last tailed beast and it's strange that after Naruto's death he was never revived? But Sakura-chan, you know my real name. Sakura looked into his eyes and demanded in a trembling voice. Take off your mask. Really? Kakashi looked at Naruto in confusion. And Naruto. It all worked out strangely, didn't it? This world is no longer the one I lived in. Although you don't see the difference, since you already live in this world, which no longer has a place for Naruto Uzumaki. He died, and the white fox was born in his place. Take off the mask, Sakura asked again. Naruto remained silent for a moment and removed the mask into thin air with a touch of his fingers. Sakura, as if enchanted, touched his face with her fingers, but her subsequent reaction surprised everyone. Oh, you scoundrel! And with all her might she hit him in the nose. How could you do this to us? Because of you, Hinata cried all over her pillows, left the clan, and had a falling out with her father. Because of you, she. And I, tearful Sakura hugged the guy around the neck. Because of you, I was left all alone. You left us alone. Sorry Sakura. Sorry, 2 tears ran down his cheek and disappeared into her hair. Sorry I'm late. Hinata, though. I know. Naruto's voice became firmer. That's why you'll go to Konoha without her. What do you want to say? The Hyuga clan won't forgive her for this. Naruto rubbed the bridge of his nose. She's better off staying here with me, and her disappearance should be passed off as an accident. What have you already thought of, Naruto? Kakashi still didn't take his eyes off Naruto. I won't tell you that. The guy shook his head. I can't risk it now. I'll tell you everything, but not now. Now you'll have to forget everything you've just seen. You'll be put under a powerful genjutsu. Why? Sakura sobbed. I can't make mistakes now, but when it's all over I'll tell you everything again, but now. Sorry. I understand. But how will you cast genjutsu? It's not me who's doing this. Naruto looked towards the door. Itachi, please come in. Itachi walked into the room, holding a cane. His left eye was bandaged and he didn't look his best. Sakura, Kakashi, and even Kakura were all wide-eyed. The Uchiha nodded silently in greeting and sat down at Naruto's right hand. But how? Kakura looked at Naruto in bewilderment. He died. As you can see, Sakura-san, Uchiha responded hoarsely. I'm keeping this a big secret. Naruto looked sideways at Itachi. And it will remain so for now. Kakura, genjutsu won't work on you, so keep your mouth shut. Your task is the Uchiha estate. Sakura-chan, Kakashi-sensei, I'll explain everything to you, but for now I ask you to accept it. If my plan fails, you'll continue to live with peace of mind, and if it succeeds, the world will become a little better. Will you come back? Sakura asked the most painful question. When everything is over, will you come back? No, Naruto smiled sadly. I won't come back. Unfortunately, Naruto Uzumaki died and he can't be brought back. But you're alive. And this is a secret for everyone for now. And for now. I'm not saying goodbye for now. We'll see each other again. Naruto stood up from the table. It's time for you to forget everything. Itachi, get started. Why do you need all this nonsense, Fox? Itachi leaned back tiredly in his chair. The Leaf Shinobi had already headed towards the princess, completely forgetting about their meeting with the fox and were now mentally suffering from Hinata's death. Naruto was hurt and terribly ashamed of his actions. Did you really want to see your friends that much? Partly yes. But that's only part of the plan. Do you think the elders won't recognize this trick with genjutsu? They'll definitely suspect something. Yes, but I'm sure they won't get to the truth. I implanted false memories in their memory. How are you feeling? The fox turned to Uchiha. It's fine. Better than Hinata is now. Do you think she'll approve of your decision? After all, her pregnancy changes everything a lot. I can't let her go. Who knows what Hayashi would do to her if he found out about the pregnancy. Hinata is the heiress of the clan. The Hyuga will obviously be angry about her death. I'm afraid that strife will start. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Naruto grinned slyly and somehow childishly. Think about it, wouldn't Madara take advantage of such a chance to strike Konoha? You're pointing your finger at the sky. And notice that I always hit the mark. Whatever Madara's plan, you Uchiha have one trait. Which one? Revenge. White Fox cried triumphantly. You are all obsessed with revenge in one way or another. Especially Sasuke. He is weak now, and this is a great chance to take him out of the game. My people will track him down and catch him, and I will persuade him to come over to our side. And if he doesn't listen? I have you. His beloved older brother, for whom he takes revenge on everyone and everything. Itachi, now is the time to change everything before it's too late. Even I feel goosebumps from the feeling of inevitability. And in my opinion, you get goosebumps from the habit of running half-naked into the mountains for training. Pfft. Naruto grinned happily. Listen, I'm going to be a dad. I see that you are happy about this. Of course, but, the guy thought. We only had this once. Or maybe. Don't you dare. Naruto interrupted Uchiha. Hinata is not like that. Of course. Even I know that this girl has been in love with you since the academy, and you didn't notice it. Are you putting pressure on my conscience? It won't work. Haha. 200 years old, and no brains. Fudo muttered, descending from the second floor. You've really started a mess, Naruto. And you too? The blonde was indignant. I simply acted according to the circumstances. One of these circumstances has already woken up and is wandering around the infirmary. Hinata opened her eyes and winced as she felt a wave of nausea. Her vision was blurry from the bright light of the lamp, and her limbs were aching from the awkward position she had woken up in. She struggled to get out of bed, realizing that she was not in the snow castle and that this place was unfamiliar to her. She looked around, activated her Byakugan, and felt a severe headache. Where am I? Her bare feet touched the floor and she winced at the cold feeling. Her hands absent-mindedly touched her thigh, where the bag with kunai was attached. The bag was gone and Hinata panicked. Where were her weapons? Don't even try to use chakra in your condition. She turned around and was almost stunned when she saw a platinum fox with 9 tails who seemed to not care about her reaction. Please don't be stupid and go back to bed. The fox left, but Hinata did not listen to his advice and, leaning against the wall, left the room to look for the team. All the doors on the floor were locked and the girl headed for the stairs. Standing on the step, her head suddenly spun and Hinata stumbled and fell. Expecting a hard landing, she was very surprised when she fell into someone's arms. A painfully familiar smell hit her nostrils and, opening her eyes, the girl stared in disbelief at a familiar face. Tears gushed from her eyes, and her hands trembled. Why you? The voice trembled traitorously. A alive. A alive. And Naruto that. Hinata, he hugged her and buried his nose in her hair, inhaling her scent. I missed you so much. Pulling away, Hinata felt his cheeks with her palms, as if she couldn't believe what was happening. His fingers wiped the tears that had appeared on her cheek, not noticing that he himself had started to cry from an excess of feelings. Why? She squeezed out. Why you're just a mage to me? I'm real. The young man smiled. So much has happened to me. Tell me. Necessarily. He touched her lips with his. Hinata sobbed and pressed herself against him, still not believing what was happening. He was alive. He was close. Was this a dream? She cast aside all doubts, because Naruto was now hugging her and was real, made of flesh and blood. And her heart was firmly convinced that this was reality. I have a lot to tell you, Hinata. 4 months later. Konoha. Hokage residence. How could you let this happen? The Hokage was furious. We're taking losses again. How could Hinata die, that you didn't even find her body, and the secret message was lost? You failed a secret mission and let the heiress of the Hyuga die? You have no excuse. What should I tell Hayashi? That you were negligent in an important mission? Kakura, you made a terrible mistake, because Hinata is under your command. I'm very sorry, Hokage-sama, the woman responded, barely audible but confident. I didn't take Hinata's condition into account. What condition? The girl was depressed. I shouldn't have taken her on the mission. I couldn't save her, because she didn't want to live herself. Don't say that, Kakura-san. Sakura intervened. Hinata is strong. She couldn't throw herself in front of the attack. But if she hadn't been so sad, she could have dodged. She could have dodged, but she didn't. No one is to blame for her death. You're right, Kakura, the Hokage said, not without bitterness. I should have left her in the village too. She's strong, but Naruto's death has undermined her too much. Everything is going from bad to worse. Hokage-sama. One of the elders looked at Kakura suspiciously. They're not telling us everything. There are too many holes in the report. Let Marino Ibiki interrogate them in detail. The Hyuga case is too delicate to just take their word for it. We have to be sure. You don't trust trusted shinobi? We don't trust Ms. Shokakura. Her identity is too questionable and we feel someone else's interference in their memories. So be it. Hataki, Haruno, Sho. Let them check you. Once everyone had left, Tsunade reached for the bottle of sake. Take care of your liver, Tsunadeheim. They whispered behind her back. So the message did fall into your hands, White Fox. Not particularly surprised, the Hokage turned to him. This is all you're doing, right? Why do you need all this? Alas, but my motives will remain with me. Naruto came out of the shadows. Hokage-sama, let's not waste time, which is limited for me now. White, I have received some information about the formation of a certain organization that acts on your behalf. I also suspect that a new hidden village will soon be born. What are you getting at? The guy bowed his head in a sign of incomprehension. I won't judge you or do anything about it. But when the war starts, can I count on Konoha and Daisuke's alliance? The elders and Danzo won't like this. To hell with them. The woman poured sake. Their methods are outdated. Now they don't even know about my decision, and when the war starts, they won't have a choice. And how did you find out about Daisuke? The shinobi sighed a little sadly. I tried so hard to keep everything a secret. But sooner or later the truth will come out, and for now I will remain silent. Fox, I know little about you, but I am sure that you are a good person. Do you think so? Yes. Maybe I'm wrong about people, but Jiraiya is not. Fox, save this world. As always. Naruto had already made the seals and Tsunade barely audibly whispered. Take care of her. For the first time in months, Naruto visited the main office of the Path Company. He needed allies in the coming war, but where would they come from if he was considered a criminal? Seeing the boss in a righteous rage, the secretaries cowardly hid behind their desks, accompanying Naruto only with their eyes. Slamming the door behind him, he pressed a button on the phone. Ami-san, envoys from the Fire Daimyo are supposed to come to me. Notify me of their arrival. After a short pause, he added. And bring me a cup of coffee, please. Yes, Kyoshi-sama. Hissed over the speaker. Kyoshi-sama, several messages have been left for you, and also Ms. Ritsum was looking for you. What did she want? She asked me to tell you that the order is ready, sir. Very good. Contact her and arrange a meeting at about 5 o'clock in the evening. Dash right now, Kyoshi-sama. Naruto released the button and silence fell over the office. On the desk lay a folder with memos, and on top of the folder lay several letters. Looking through them, the guy sighed in disappointment, not finding the most expected. Almost half of the letters were bills for the maintenance of rental premises and the purchase of building materials. -1 and the same. A polar owl sat on a perch near the window, hooting irritably. Naruto took the letter from its paw and read it. Coming soon. Just 2 words, but they made Naruto frown. After all, he knew their meaning. There was almost no time left. Crumpling the letter, he threw it into the ashtray. The owl flew out the window. I hate haste. But everything happens in a hurry, Kyoshi. Suri came through the door, holding a tray. Daisuke is worried. Everyone is preparing for battle. First we need to provide protection for everyone. The youngest students and their families need to be completely relocated to Daisuke and strengthen the city's defense. Will there be enough people? We still need to conduct a thorough selection of detachments and draw up a plan. Marais is already doing this. He is a talented strategist. Are you sure that your intervention is necessary? Suri, my whole life comes down to this war. My very destiny comes down to this battle. You're exaggerating. If only. Suri-san, let me know when Marais finishes with the strategy and bring me a report at the end of the week. Suri placed the tray of coffee on the table and smiled sadly. That girl, Hinata, seems worried. How is she? Her condition is steadily deteriorating. Pregnancy is difficult for her, but she is holding on. Doctors predict that she will give birth by the end of the 8th month of pregnancy. Is it known who will be born? It's only 18 weeks yet. Provide her with the best and let her know that I will be there soon. The woman left, leaving the boy uneasy. Naruto looked out the window, watching the people walking along the streets. Even after all these years, Tokyo hadn't changed. The war he feared so much is approaching. The lives of those dear to him are in danger. Greed, selfishness, conceit, despair, anger. He has gone through all of this and endured it, why can't the others? And the Uchiha clan will remain guilty. They will have no peace anywhere. Kakura, Marais, Madara, Itachi, Obito, and most importantly Sasuke. All of them are the last of their kind. All of them are obsessed with revenge that will bring them nothing but a feeling of emptiness. Only recently the last pieces of the puzzle fell into place, but still did not bring a complete picture. Why did Obito declare war on the villages for the last bijou if the nine-tailed one is not with them now and he knows it perfectly well? A trap, huh? The young man whispered thoughtfully. So you clearly underestimated me, Obito. Talking to yourself is a sign of madness, Kyoshi. Fudo slowly leaked out of his bracers. I don't like your plan. You don't like everything, Fudo, but I'm confident in my victory. I'm worried. I know. This is not the past anymore and it is impossible to predict everything. Fudo, go back to Daisuke, and I will visit Suna. Now more than ever we need allies. You're our boss. Be careful, Naruto. Don't do anything stupid. Fudo disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Naruto sat down at the table and hurried to finish the paperwork. Various thoughts were swarming in his head now, one worse than the other. More than ever, he needed advice. Having driven all unnecessary thoughts from his head, he disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Tsunade signed the last papers and left the Hokage's residence towards home. The last letter from the Kazekage made it clear what he would do at the Kage summit in the Land of Iron. It was madness, but there was no other way. All her strength was needed for the upcoming war and there was no time to pay attention to past squabbles, but how could she convince the other Kage of this? Gaara was a madman, but Tsunade decided to take his side. The bad feeling that had been tormenting her for months weighed on the woman, and she realized that there were many reasons for concern. She was no longer so sure of Konoha's future. What awaited her village? What other trials would she have to face? All the ninja of Konohagakure were preparing for war. Everyone was ready to fight to the death. The woman was also tormented by the question of the white fox. What would he do? Someone like him wouldn't sit on the sidelines. He always knew everything in advance, like when they first met. That bastard definitely came up with something. Hokage-sama. Tsunade turned around sharply at the sound of the voice and saw Kakura emerging from the shadows of the residence's gate. Yes, Kakura. Hokage-sama, I have some news for you. Is this important, or can it wait until tomorrow? It depends on how you look at it. People loyal to me have found the location of Uchiha Sasuke and his team. They are located very close to the border of the Land of Fire and Wind in the village of Janiko. At the moment, he is defenseless. Now is not the time to catch him. That's right, Hokage-sama. He's an important pawn in the upcoming war. Akatsuki is also looking for him. My seal's effect is wearing off and the chances of catching him before them are getting smaller. What should I do? Tomorrow, Kakura. Come to me tomorrow with Sakura. I need to rest, and Sasuke can wait for now. Yes, Hokage-sama. And one more thing. What else? He will arrive at the Kage meeting. Will he really show up there? He doesn't intend to hide any longer. Another madman. He has all the trump cards and what will make everyone come to terms with him. What is this? Even if I knew, I would have kept quiet. You're a Konoha ninja, Tsunade began. That's why I'm keeping this secret. It will cause a lot of trouble before it's time. Hokage-sama, be careful. What do you mean? Just be careful, Kakura's eyes filled with bitterness. I've already lost enough people. Kakura left, leaving Tsunade in thought. She promised him that she would leave Sasuke to him. Well, gentlemen, began Mifuno, as if receiving guests. Take off your hats from your heads, as a sign that everyone here is equal. The Kage removed their hats. The Reikage frowned at his old acquaintances. When he saw Gaara, he grinned. It's even worse to see in the land of wind than I thought, since they chose such a brat as Kazekage. I'm glad to hear that the affairs of my village concern you so much, Reikage-sama. The Kazekage smiled faintly. Reikage, I ask you to choose your words. Tsunade frowned. We came here to talk about the upcoming war, not to discuss age. You're right, Hokage-sama. The Mizukage looked around boredly. I see a sixth seat between the Kazekage and the Hokage. Are we waiting for someone else? We are waiting for another ally. Mifune glanced at the Kage. He will arrive soon. What kind of ally? I think some of you can guess, Gentleman Kage, but I will still say, Mifune cleared his throat. The White Fox is interested in an alliance with 5 villages. White Fox? The Tsuchikage frowned. Of course. He's a criminal. The Reikage slammed his fist on the table, punching a hole in it. Why did he suddenly become an ally? White Fox is one of those people who doesn't care about their status. Gaara rested his chin on his hand. One way or another, we'll have to cooperate. What do you mean by this, Kazekage? I am the last remaining Jinchuriki and the target of the war itself. Everyone turned at once to the sound of the voice and saw the White Fox, sitting casually in his assigned chair. The Kage looked at him in surprise, not daring to admit that his appearance had taken them by surprise. This was the reaction Naruto had been looking for. He was flattered. Behind him stood his attendants. They had insisted on being there, but on the condition that they wear masks. Tsukumo and Itachi. Each of them was a dead man, and that was why Naruto was so worried about them. White Fox, have your escorts remove their masks. As he expected. I cannot fulfill this request. Why? Mifune asked. Otherwise I will have to take mine off. The young man bowed his head slightly. Distrust of my subordinates is distrust of me. If you don't trust me, you shouldn't have invited me to negotiations. These are the rules, my dear. The Reikage exploded. Follow them. Please remember that even the rules can be changed. Naruto smiled, forgetting that no one would see the smile. I do not intend to reveal the identities of my servants. But I am ready to explain the reason. We heard that you have gathered your own organization. The Hokage began. Explain. Tsunade-hime, you are right, but only partially. 30 years ago, I created Daisuke with a goal that my clan once supported. Unfortunately, only a few of my clan remained, and I decided to gather those who suffered from endless wars and unite them with one goal, to create a school. Excuse me, what do you mean by school? The Reikage asked. That's how I understand it. Daisuke is not an organization, but a boarding school. The last war left many orphans embittered at the whole world. I decided to take them under my wing and help them choose their own path, a path without malice and with hope for the future. Of course, I do not do this just for the sake of a whim. With the help of friendship and affection, I gain allies who are loyal to me and will never betray me. Some of my allies have a very unpleasant past and came to me for a new future. I admit that quite a few people were drawn to me. I even managed to save some Uchiha. Uchiha clan? The Kage tensed. One of them is present here now. Naruto was openly amused. But it doesn't matter now. For the sake of the upcoming alliance, I am ready to provide any information, except for my identity and the identities of my subordinates. I am also ready to offer my help. And it's not just like that, right? Of course. The alliance implies cooperation on terms that are beneficial to everyone. I offered my price, and there was only one condition: independence for Daisuke and the city of Qatar. The city of Katara. Isn't that too much to ask for, White Fox? The Tsuchikage chuckled. A profitable city. It became profitable when the path came there, the young man grinned. But it can also leave there, leaving most people without work. What does the way have to do with everything? The most direct. This is my company. Naruto held back a chuckle at the Kage's expressions. I have a lot of power and am quite freedom-loving. Because of this I quarreled with Danzo, thanks to whom I acquired the fame of a criminal. I know enough to simply set you against each other, but I am not so stupid. Our common enemy is strong enough to destroy us all, and therefore we do not need strife. I extend my hand of friendship to you in order to prevent Tobi's plan. What's the plan? Eye of the Moon. He intends to place the entire planet in an infinite genjutsu, using all the bijou for this. To carry out his plan, he lacks the nine-tailed beast, which disappeared after the death of his Jinchuriki. It is no secret to him that you do not have a tailed beast. Then why did he declare war? To lure me out. I already told you about my peculiarity. Prove that you have the tailed one, the Raikage demanded. Should I summon Fudo right here? Fudo? The tailed beasts actually have names. Fudo is the name of the nine-tailed beast. It is your disrespect for them that makes them dangerous to you. Fudo, appear. Orange chakra began to flow out of Naruto's bracers, forming into Fudo. The Kage shuddered in unison from the sensation of powerful chakra. Having formed completely, Fudo yawned widely and lay down on the table in front of the youth. Ninetails. My name is Fudo. So, now will you accept my conditions? Now listen. The negotiations were interrupted by a loud explosion. Here's Sasuke-kun. Naruto grinned. He came to his senses quickly. Sasuke was still weak. This was evident by how hard he was taking Susanoo. The Raikage had already lost his arm, and the White Fox was still watching. He was waiting for the Raikage to finally give in. But the man was eager to avenge his brother. The Uchiha was breathing heavily, but he was supporting Susanoo. Black flames danced around, devouring everything they touched. The fox lost his patience and stopped the Raikage with a touch of his arm. His voice was a whisper, and their conversation was heard only by him. Raikage, don't bother. Let me take him. Has White gone mad? He killed my brother. You underestimate B, Fox said pointedly. He's still alive. He left the Akatsuki high and dry, giving them only the tentacle of the eight-tailed beast. What did you say? The man roared. Where is that bastard? No idea. Naruto shook his head. Give me Sasuke. Take it, but you will help me find my brother. Of course, Naruto stepped forward. Sasuke-kun, don't do anything stupid. Who's telling me this? Sasuke grinned crookedly, swaying. A weirdo in a mask. It seems Orochimaru didn't tell me about me. Why did he do this? Are you making fun of me? Sasuke-kun, you chose the wrong path. I will not back down from revenge. Itachi wouldn't approve of this. I don't give a damn about his opinion. He didn't deserve the suffering that Konoha made him endure. Don't shift the blame of individuals onto the entire village. Should innocent people really pay for the mistakes of individuals? You know who is to blame for everything. It was not a question, but a statement. Tell me. Not now. Come with me the easy way. No. You'll tell me now. Then I'm sorry. You'll have to wait. Naruto immediately made seals. Earth element, quicksand prison. As expected, Sasuke sank into the floor up to his chin. Naruto had long suspected the downside of Susanoo, but now he saw it clearly. Susanoo does not protect against attacks from below. Sasuke was about to use Amaterasu, but the fox tightly blindfolded him with the torn sleeve of his Hayori. Divine suppression technique. Naruto formed seals and touched Sasuke's head. Now go to sleep. Ninpo, artificial sleep. The Uchiha went limp in the trap, his face becoming peaceful. Naruto pulled the boy by the scruff of the neck and threw his limp body over his shoulder. The Kage were coming to their senses. He looked around the hall that had turned into ruins and turned to the Raikage. Raikage-sama, I need to leave, but soon I will send my people to you to search for B. Your people? The Raikage cracked his fists. What do you mean by that? You don't think I've spent the last 30 years sitting in my office, grading papers? Daisuke has been around for 30 years and many people have graduated from there. My academy is by no means weak and can stand up for itself. But I'll tell you right away. I didn't plan to create an army and take revenge for the slander against me, although I should have. Then what is it for? Then why am I so careless? I'm not the best leader, and I'm used to going into battle alone, but it's much calmer to fight knowing that your time-tested comrades are covering your ass. I'm tired of going alone, breaking the path of stubborn people like you. I'm strong, but I can't win this war alone, just like you, by the way. I'm leaving, and for now I'm leaving Fong to contact me. Naruto nodded at the masked Tsukumo, who was standing next to the Kazekage. When you make a decision, let him know. Having formed the seals, Naruto and Sasuke disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Itachi disappeared a moment later, leaving Tsukumo with the Kage. Finding himself at Naruto's estate, already familiar to him, on the outskirts of the Feng country, Itachi threw off his mask and began to run to catch up with the hurrying Naruto. He no longer cared about Tsukumo, or Sasuke's henchmen, or even the Kage. Now his thoughts were spinning around his younger brother. How stupid he was to show up at the Kage meeting without having completely broken Kakura's seal. Although this is Sasuke, who always ran ahead of the locomotive. Having overcome several flights and stairs after White, they finally reached the infirmary. Having laid the younger Uchiha on the nearest bed, Naruto breathed a sigh of relief and suddenly jumped up in fear from the roar of the nine-tailed fox. Why the hell did you leave me there, Kyoshi? Sorry, I forgot. He forgot. Where are you even thinking? You left Tsukumo to take the rap. Mine won't pat you on the head for this. Are you back already, Naruto-kun? Hinata entered the infirmary. Stroking her rather rounded belly, the girl politely nodded to the elder Uchiha. Itachi quickly pulled out a chair for her, and she carefully sat down on it. The pregnancy was clearly difficult for her, especially in the last days. Her term of pregnancy had come to an end a week and a half ago, but the child had not yet decided to come into the world. The girl's pale face had not left an expression of anxiety and dejection since the day she decided to stay with Naruto. She looked at her beloved and understood that the former Uzumaki was no longer there. A completely different person stood before her. At first, this frightened her, but soon she realized that Naruto had become who he was supposed to be. He had become a legend. I missed you. His warm arms embraced her fragile shoulders, and his lips touched the bridge of her nose. The girl relaxed and touched her stomach. Her gaze slid to the bed, where Sasuke was restlessly tossing and turning. You finally got it back. So quickly. He was weak, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten away with it so easily. I was just lucky. Take off your mask, please. Sorry. Naruto removed his mask. How are you? I'm worried. Naruto-kun, I'm worried. Naruto smiled. Ever since the day he finally met her, he felt like something meaningful had reappeared in his life. It was like an important part of his mechanism called soul had been found. He tried to spend as much time with her as possible, but the responsibilities he had taken on himself didn't allow him to visit her more than a couple of times a week. Don't worry. It's harmful in your situation. Itachi sighed and sat down next to his brother's bed. Little stupid brother. Uchiha glanced at Hinata. He envied Naruto. You won't find a more sincere and devoted woman. Although there is Haruno, but Sasuke is such an idiot. Making a face, the young man turned away from the couple. Everything will change very soon. Watching the clouds float by, Naruto remembered a certain lazy genius and sadly closed his eyes, allowing himself to relax and rest. The roof of the academy, warmed by the sun, became a place for him to be one with himself. In the history room, where he was frankly lounging, a lesson was in progress. The hubbub of children's voices had a calming effect on the shinobi's consciousness. For the sake of the children's future, he must stop this war. Feeling the rustling of tiles and an angry puffing, Naruto refrained from a doomed groan. "Kyoshi, you blonde ass." Mine sneered. "You promised to teach the lesson at 5 p.m. They can kick the ball around without me." "Kyoshi," the woman spoke more softly. "I know you're tired, but I'm not exactly beaming with energy either. The children love you and will be very upset if you don't come." So get off your ass and go educate the youth." The woman left, casting a final, uncompromising glance at the young man. "Coming." Naruto muttered and stretched, jumping off the roof. "So, young ones, ready for work?" "Yes, sensei." The children shouted. "A football is waiting for you at the stadium. Divide into 2 teams. The winners will get an extra portion of pudding for breakfast in the canteen for a week. I will be the judge. And may the force of youth be with you." "Yes." "Too much, my friend," muttered the fox as the children rushed to the stadium. "I understand that they admire you and don't dare contradict you, but they are only 7 years old. They are future shinobi, Fudo. Hard times are coming and soon they will have to face the horrors of the outside world. And what does physical education and the power of youth have to do with it? Look at the root, my friend. After all, it is in the rivalry of the game that friendship is born. And friendship is the substance that will not allow them to rot in their souls. By creating and strengthening these connections, they will be able to make the world a little better. I cannot wish for more. And you are a sentimentalist." "Maybe, but looking at the children, I stopped doubting the choice I once made." "What choice?" "As if you don't know. I'm talking about our choice." "Oh, you mean that?" Fudo grinned. "It's more your choice, Naruto." "Oh, sorry, I misspoke, Kyoshi Michio." "Yes." For Naruto, the time has not come yet. Sakura watched the clouds drifting across the sky with sadness. Loneliness weighed on her like never before. First Sasuke left, trampling her feelings for him. Then Naruto left, taking her heart with him. And finally, Hinata left, taking the last bits of hope with her. Why did the people dear to her disappear from her life time after time? Am I really cursed? Tears treacherously welled up in her eyes, but the girl brushed them away. "I won't cry anymore, Naruto. You don't have to worry about me now. I promise you, Hinata, I will become stronger and keep my promise. I will bring Sasuke back to the right path." "That was the right thing to do, Sakura." Kakura touched her shoulder. "But you don't have to worry about Sasuke anymore." "Kakura-san, what do you mean? This is no place for talking. Let's go for a walk." The intrigued girl followed Kakura. She meandered through the streets for a long time, whistling a song under her breath. Finally, after another turn, Kakura suddenly went up. Following her, Sakura involuntarily noticed that she had fallen under the effect of Genjutsu. It was as if she had woken up in a new world. Around her were the ruins of some city, and the sky above her was black, like spilled ink. "Welcome to my Tsukiyomi, Sakura." Kakura turned to Sakura, demonstrating the Manjikyu Sharingan, and hurried to calm the girl down. "Don't worry. We just need to talk to you without witnesses." "Then why didn't you do it right away, but circled around the city?" "You're under surveillance." "I tried to shake them off, but they clearly know their stuff." "I didn't want to use Tsukiyomi, but it was necessary." "For what?" "What we feared has begun." "The war has begun, Sakura." "War?" "Yes. The top brass is keeping quiet about it for now, but it is true, and I am afraid that you are in danger." "Me? Why?" "You see, but you and Kakashi saw something in the land of snow that you shouldn't have seen." "But..." "Don't interrupt." Alas, but because of the stupidity of one person, you can be killed in the general noise. But what did we see? You saw the ghost of the past. You saw the white fox's greatest secret and became the target of Root. By Danzo's standards, Kakashi and I became traitors to the village. You saw what that old fart yearns for. But Sensei is no fool if he didn't take that into account. Kakura smiled unkindly. He didn't just take it into account, he planned it by casting genjutsu on you. I don't understand, Kakura-san. What did we see? Why? Alas, but I came to Konoha not for my father, but for the mission. You can consider me a traitor or a spy, but I came here to remove the rotten roots from Sensei's path, and you and Kakashi unwittingly became accomplices. Do you know why the White Fox is considered a criminal? He's guilty of Kakashi-sensei's father's death, Sakura muttered hesitantly. Exactly. But this has a much stronger subtext. It was Danzo who first raised the alarm back then. His pride was hurt that day. Kakura bit her lip uncertainly. Sakura, are you ready to hear the whole truth about the White Fox? I can remove the genjutsu that seals your memories. But you must first make your choice. Are you ready to leave Konoha to save it? Think about it carefully. After all, what I tell you will give you a new meaning in life. The meaning of life? Sakura was taken aback by her words. War. Really? Secrets? What did it all mean? How could she save her home village? So many questions. Was Kakura-san lying? No. There was no lie in her words. Sakura hesitantly looked into her eyes and saw hope in them. And Kakashi-sensei? I've already talked to him. And what did he decide? His decision is not yours. Make your own choice without relying on others. This is important. If what you said is for the good, then I believe you. But I will make my choice after I hear all the arguments. I didn't expect anything else, girl. I'll tell you only part of the truth, but then you can decide for sure. I'm listening. Do you believe in fate? Hokage-sama. Hokage-sama. What happened, Shizune? Hokage-sama, Sakura. What's wrong with Sakura, Shizune? Tsunade jumped up in her chair. Speak, Shizune. She asked me to give you this, Hokage-sama. The woman handed her a piece of paper and 2-leaf forehead protectors. She and Kakura-san. They left Konoha. How? With trembling hands, Tsunade took the letter and the protectors. The letter only had a couple of lines written on it. Switching to a whisper, the woman began to read. Sensei, forgive us, but this is necessary. I know it's not the right time to leave you, but I have nothing to do with you in this war. I'll be more useful elsewhere. You can call me a fugitive or a traitor, but I believe that this is not my place right now. I want to bring Team 7 back. I may be going crazy, but I won't give up. This is my ninja way. Sensei, my heart and hope have returned to me. Sensei, do you believe in fate? Wiping away a tear, Tsunade smiled as she looked out the window. What a bastard. And yet you deceived us all skillfully. White Fox, everything is ready. The squads have been formed, the plan has been made, it has begun to act. When? It's already started. The Zetsu are advancing. The Union has begun to act. We're moving out immediately. Kyoshi turned, looking into the shadows by the window. Ready, Sasuke? Of course, Uchiha looked at his friend. But don't think that I will back down from revenge. Keep your promise. Of course. I'm leaving Danzo to you. Go meet Sakura and Kakura. I'm sure everything will happen there. Thank you. Kyoshi blinked and the Uchiha was gone. Only the swaying curtains showed where Sasuke had disappeared to. The White Fox smiled. Everything had worked out as he had planned. Danzo had stepped into the trap he had prepared. Don't you dare retreat. Squads 34 and 26 forward to the vanguard. Medics, retreat closer to the pass. Inoichi-san, can you hear me? Where are the reinforcements? We can't hold the line of defense. Reinforcements are coming. Hold out for another 10 minutes. Less than a month had passed before the war had spread every bloody tendril across all the shinobi countries. And things were getting worse and worse. The walking dead summoned by Kabuto were making the battle extremely difficult. Hundreds were killed, thousands were wounded, and the enemy was growing in number. Many were close to despair. But what was even worse was that the weakened squad no longer had any hope of surviving until reinforcements arrived. As if from nowhere, 2 squads of shinobi with unidentified uniforms jumped out and surrounded the barely alive shinobi, protecting the revived Momochi Zabuza and Haku from enemy attacks. The shinobi, who had lost hope, no longer knew whether to rejoice at the unexpected help or wonder where their saviors had come from. 2 of their squads ran up to them and helped carry the wounded to a safe distance. "Who are you?" The squad captain, Shikamaru, finally spoke. "I don't see the alliance sign on you." "We are the White Fox's people," said the girl with blonde hair and a mask on her face. "Don't worry, you're safe now. Hawk, take command, we need a medic here." The masked youth nodded, apparently he was Hawk, and moved into battle, pushing the enemies away from the wounded. Nara looked at the shinobi, who were pushing Momochi towards Haku, in bewilderment. He had heard of the White Fox, but he had never thought that he had his own subordinates. Was he really going to join this battle? Use the seal of the gods. "The barrier team, be ready," Hawk commanded. "Cordon off the area." "Out of the way, Sparrow, I'll use Amaterasu." What Shikamaru saw was perhaps the most horrifying. Black flames engulfed the reincarnated, burning them alive. 6 of the group separated and used a summoning technique, summoning a huge jar that sucked the reincarnated inside, sealing them along with the flames. The friendly pokes and shouts surprised Shikamaru. But what surprised him even more was the Uchiha clan mark on Hawk's back. "Don't stare at me like I'm a monster, friend." Hawk ran his fingers through his hair, ruffling it. "We're your allies, even if we're not part of the alliance." Who are you?" "Captain of the blockade squad." "My name won't mean anything to you, and you already know about the clan." "Don't make that face, dude." But the Uchiha clan no longer exists." "Who taught you this nonsense?" "Just because there are no Uchiha left in Konoha doesn't mean there aren't any in the world either. Don't complicate things." The guy in the mask saluted and waved to his subordinates. "Gather at point C43. Team Tatsu, stay here, I'm handing over command to this pineapple head. He looks smart." "Hawk, don't be rude," the girl exclaimed, giving him a slap. Then she took off her mask and smiled sweetly at the stunned Nara. "You are Nara Shikamaru, aren't you? I am handing over command of these people to you for the time being. Later, the White Fox army will fully reunite with the Shinobi Alliance. The White Fox spoke very highly of your intelligence, and we hope for your cooperation." "And there are many of you?" "Enough to tip the scales in our favor. Your command has already been notified. So I am ready to take command." "Oh, of course. Sasuke." Sakura couldn't believe her eyes. "Why? Shut up, Sakura." Uchiha snapped. "Don't interfere." "What do you mean, stay out of the way?" The girl flared up. "It wasn't me who fell on your head. Don't think of me as a weakling. I'm much stronger already. Naruto has also become stronger, and where is he now? Feeding worms? Get lost, who am I talking to? Don't you dare talk about Naruto like that." Sasuke appeared before them unexpectedly. However, only Sakura was surprised, as Uchiha literally fell on her from above, appearing from the cloud with a loud bang. The technique of movement was not his strong point, and the White Fox warned that sending Sasuke without the fox did not guarantee the accuracy of the hit. But still, he wanted to fall on Haruno the least of all. Why didn't this fox warn that the seal of the Thunder God was now on Haruno, and not on Kakura? But looking at the woman's satisfied face, he realized that it was not the fox's fault at all. "So, you've arrived." Kakura giggled, patting the boy on the head in a sisterly way. "Did Sensei straighten your brains out?" "Shut up." Uchiha shied away from her. "Go your way, and I'll go mine. We're friends, Sasuke-kun." The woman began to treacherously approach the battered guy. "We'll help, right Sakura? This is my revenge." Sasuke blushed for some reason, surprising Sakura with his behavior. Get out of the way. Stop being stubborn, Nii-chan, the woman sang sweetly. Itachi-kun wasn't such a prude. He even bragged about how cute his Nii-chan was. Sakura had never seen a stranger scene. For the first time, Sasuke behaved. He behaved like a normal person. He blushed, cursed, ran away from Kakura, who was about to hug the boy. Something warmed her soul, and something told her that Sasuke was changing. But remembering the resentment she had harbored against him, the girl clearly decided to slap him at the slightest opportunity. Soon, she began to feel sick of the two Uchiha, and she began to think. Itachi was alive, Danzo was afraid of the fox, the war had begun, she had left the village. So much had happened, and there were more and more questions. Who was this fox? Why was he acting like this? What were his goals? Why did everyone respect him so much? What would happen to Konoha? What decision did Kakashi-sensei make? Why did Sasuke start changing so suddenly? Hey, auntie, go ahead already, and I'll deal with your tail. Are you trying to act like a gentleman? No way. We'll also accept the fight. It was the white fox who decided so. Are you disputing his order? Tisk, the woman calmed down in an instant. There you go. He took all the fun away. And what else did he say? He said to move to point D62 and reunite with Hyde's squad. They'll inform you there. Hyde, so. And this idiot was entrusted with an entire squad? His team always lost during training. Let's go, Sakura. Let Sasuke go his own way, and we need to deal with Hyde. But. Girl, the commander's orders are not discussed. The tone in which Kakura suddenly spoke made it clear that disobedience was out of place here. Sasuke adjusted his katana and ran in the opposite direction. His gaze was full of determination and inflexibility, because his revenge was approaching. Sakura bit her tongue as she watched Sasuke go. He was going to get into trouble. To hell with orders. Turning sharply, the pink-haired girl rushed after the Uchiha. Kakura just shook her head. Well done, girl. Now you've finally decided everything. She won't interfere with her, but she won't help her either, because she won't trust Higa with an entire squad. Go away. Sasuke didn't even need to turn around to recognize her. I don't need your help. Shut up, I'm not here for you. And for what purpose? For my own sake. To strengthen your self-esteem? The young man quipped. I won't take your bread away. Sakura couldn't help but let her voice break. You can sulk all you want, but we're still team number 7. Team number 7 is no more. She won't exist if you die too. Sasuke was silent for a moment, thinking about the words of Sakura, the girl who was so different from the one he knew before. He couldn't help but admit that he liked her better this way. But he would never tell her that. Never, not for any amount of money. Whatever you are, I don't want to lose you too. Do you still love? I made a promise. Sakura ignored his sarcastic tone. TSK. And how will you help in the battle? For your information, I will not get into a fight. I am a medic. I will heal if necessary. Well, and if Danzo wins, then I will enter the battle. I hope that you are strong enough to at least tire him out. She had clearly touched him on the quick, but he bit his tongue and kept all the sharp words behind his teeth. After all, a medic would be useful. The green foliage of the trees gave way to a rocky shore, where Danzo and his retinue were already waiting for them. Sasuke glanced over his shoulder and saw Sakura, who had already managed to hide her face with an ANBU mask. She stood a little to the side, not taking her eyes off the bandaged old man, whose face expressed a sense of superiority. And I wasn't expecting you at all. The old man grinned. Be content with what is available. Finally, the hour of revenge is approaching. From the author, sorry for not posting for a long time, finally found a job. I'm mentally tired and have lost 3 kilos in 2 weeks, even taking into account that I'm gobbling donuts by the kilo. At work, I also started writing a new FIC, which will come out after this, as a continuation of the story for which I decided to finish writing the Paths of Prophecies. Also, with this chapter, Sasuke-kun's OOC begins, whose true character is very disgusting to me. I hope that no one will be against it. If the plot of the future sequel is interesting, I can post its content in a bonus chapter, or just keep it a secret. 3. The Book of the Path of Prophecy, The Age of Troubles. Chapter 1, Part 2 A fight to the death that made his blood boil. The moment he had been walking towards for so long was already close. Taking a step, he went into battle, giving away his intentions. Sakura was nearby, parrying a blow from the root ninja. The old man was quick, dodging the Chidori blow, jumping to the middle of the bridge. The bridge shook. Sasuke-kun, from below. The Uchiha jumped up and saw the bridge crack. A second blow was heard and the bridge began to collapse. Danzo jumped further away, but the Uchiha was already waiting for him there with a sword. Sharingan was burning in his eyes. Sakura, trapped in a fight with two shinobi, could only occasionally glance at Sasuke. As much as she hated him, she could not help but admire his strength. She almost cried, remembering the times when Team 7 was in full force. Ah, if only she could turn back time. The fight was dragging on, and Fudo didn't plan to stay long. But if he left things like this, reinforcements would arrive from the root. After all, that's what Danzo was hoping for. He had to end this. Fudo carefully walked around the battlefield, disarming traps and flares along the way. Naruto asked him not to interfere in the battle, but if things continued like this, Sasuke and Sakura would eventually run out, and by that time reinforcements would arrive. The fox grinned, deciding to himself that there would be no need for reinforcements here. He was followed by 3 shinobi, Naruto's henchmen, who didn't want to send Sasuke alone. But who knew that this pink-haired kunoichi would also follow him? Even while bickering, they worked harmoniously, which left no doubt about their mutual understanding. As if they knew each other's movements by heart, and their faith and support never faded. Fudo vaguely remembered when Team 7 were still children. The distant Sasuke, the flighty Sakura and the smiling Naruto, who even after so many years still retained love for everything dear to him in his heart. And each of them still wanted to achieve something, hiding behind other motives. Someone wanted to find a place for themselves in this world, hiding behind revenge, looking for strength. Someone saw themselves only next to people dear to their hearts and wanted to protect them. And someone could not have their own desires, locked on the border of good and evil for the sake of higher goals, thinking about those who needed them. Fudo felt sorry for Naruto. Although he received strength and power, he acquired the most terrible curse, immortality. After all, he is destined to outlive everyone he loves. And he himself understands that he will live forever, if he is not killed, of course. He will see his friends, loved ones, children grow old and die, but he will remain young and untouched by old age. What does Uzumaki feel? He once asked him about it, and he answered, "You know, Fudo, I haven't lived as long as you, but I've managed to understand some things. Immortality isn't one life that lasts for centuries, but a series of events that merge into many lives. It's like a book with 1,000 stories, each more interesting than the last, and not with one story that gets boring after the 3rd chapter." And when did he manage to grow up like that? When did he start thinking like that? Fudo suspected that he had been thinking about this for years. Naruto had always sought peace within himself. And that was why his heart remained as soft and kind as it had been in childhood. Another explosion tore the fox from his thoughts. Danzo's arm and eye were bleeding, and Sasuke was clutching his pierced shoulder. Sakura was standing next to him, barely able to stand. Susanoo towered over the Uchiha with a sword, and in front of him was a huge tree, the result of the modified cells of the Hashiras. Danzo was on his last legs. All his Sharingans were closed. The old man smiled sadly and solemnly, and then another explosion was heard, and the next moment they were covered in darkness. "Are your arms and legs intact?" "The injuries are not serious, but the blood loss is significant," the tall man answered. "The pupillary reflex is normal. The girl has a broken ankle and poisoning. The Uchiha has depleted chakra circulation and damaged eye capillaries. Hospitalization is required." Toshiro, Kakeru, clean up here so that not even a drop of blood remains. Fudo-sama, is a return call to headquarters possible? It was all planned that Uchiha would remain on his feet. Fudo thoughtfully twitched his ears. Do you have a special kunai with you? Yes, sir. Then call that blonde bastard. But can't you transport them yourself? Sasuke can, but Haruno doesn't have a return seal. Call White Fox. There were 2 wounded men lying on the edge of the huge crater. 2 young shinobi were running around the ruins, cleaning up. The third, the group captain and medic, was examining the wounded. Taking a marked kunai with 3 blades from his pouch, he directed his chakra into it and threw it at a tree. Before the blade could reach its target, a strong hand caught it in midair. The White Fox, emerging from a white cloud with a loud bang, looked around. When the smoke finally cleared, he finally saw the wounded. They'll be fine, Fudo said before him, guessing his master's thoughts. But they need to be sent to the hospital immediately. Couldn't you send it yourself? The man looked reproachfully at the fox. I just wanted to rip your ass away from Hinata-chan. The 9-tailed fox answered in the same tone. You're clearly getting on the young mother's nerves with your cooing. I'm surprised you didn't bring the little one with you. Are you jealous? I became a father, and you're grumbling. I'm happy for you, but I'll have to raise the little one. You never know what he'll pick up from his father. Do you think I'm a bad father? The little one is hysterical just from the sight of your mask. Maybe you could stop exchanging pleasantries and finally take care of the wounded? The medic rubbed his temples tiredly. We still need to clean up here. Oh yeah, sorry. Naruto walked up to Sakura and touched her forehead. A web of symbols ran across her face and body and melted into her skin as if it had never been there. He did the same with Sasuke. Then, grabbing both of their hands, he disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that very moment, they found themselves in Daisuke's hospital, in an empty ward. The nurse who was cleaning there screamed in fear when 2 bloody people appeared on the freshly made beds, and the White Fox materialized on the nightstand. After giving the medic some short instructions about Sasuke and Sakura, he hurried to headquarters. He had not slept for 2 days, organizing retreat routes, medic squads, ambushes and action plans. From all this, it seemed to him that his head was about to explode. And yet, war is a businessman's profit. The company is thriving, and his ambitious deputy, the young and talented Goshinki, has managed to stretch his little hands where they should and where they shouldn't. The boy should be reined in. Where am I? The first thing Sakura saw was the white ceiling. The pain that came to her muscles made it clear why she had lost consciousness. The pain was so strong that the girl almost lost consciousness again. Someone's cool palm touched her forehead, removing pink strands from her eyes. The palm was rough and large, from which she concluded that the hand was a man's. Then she heard a voice. She could not make out the words, but it seemed vaguely familiar to her. This fact calmed her down and the girl fell asleep, never hearing an answer to her question. She has a fever. Itachi removed his hand from her forehead and gave up his place to the medic. How's Sasuke? He's fine, the medic smiled. He's sleeping and gaining strength, but the kunoichi suffered. The poison affected the heart muscles. Everything will be fine, but she shouldn't strain herself for the next 6 months. I see. Uchiha waited until the medic gave the girl an antipyretic. So their lives are out of danger? You can be sure, Itachi-san. I'll give you some more painkillers and that's it. Shinobi medics will arrive from the central hospital and the treatment will speed up. Will you stay here for now? I still have 6 wards to inspect, and Haruno needs constant supervision. Why? The poison has been removed, but not all of it, and anything can happen. Until the antidote is administered, its effect is unpredictable. Okay, I'll stay here for now, but not for long. Thank you. Itachi was alone with the girl again in the room. During their last meeting, he had cast a powerful genjutsu on her. Since Naruto's goal had been achieved, did it mean that Itachi could remove this illusion from the unfortunate girl? That was what he would do when she woke up. He looked at her face. Even while she was sleeping, she looked tense and worried about something. Her face would frown, as if she were angry, or twist, as if someone was holding an unwashed sock in front of her nose. Sometimes she would smile, sometimes she would cry. In her sleep, she would experience everything that tormented her. Itachi felt sorry for her. He took her hand and squeezed it slightly, surprised by how small her palm was. It was hard to believe that such a fragile hand could crush entire buildings into dust with one blow. As if seeking support, she squeezed his hand, and her face finally relaxed. Itachi thought. The man knew that she was on the same team as Sasuke and Naruto. He also heard that this kunoichi was in love with his brother, but did that love still remain in her heart? A funny thought came to mind. I wonder, if I had a sister instead of a brother, what would we have played as children? Like mothers and daughters, mine entered the room. You didn't come for the dressing. My wounds are not that serious, mine-san. That's no reason to ignore help. The woman looked at the girl. You know her, right? When she was a kid, she was on a team with my brother and Naruto. You know that. I know, but I asked about something else. The woman nodded at his palm. She is a strong person with an unyielding character and a loyal heart. I am grateful to her for not abandoning Sasuke in difficult times. And you like her? Naturally, but not the way you want. You bastard, the woman smiled. All of you Uchihas are the same. Listen to me, Itachi, stop playing the victim and try to be happy. If you keep sulking, I'll hit you on the head. Itachi sighed tiredly and looked at Sakura. There couldn't be anything between them. She was too young for him. He was too gloomy. And she was in love with Sasuke. And she was too proper to tie herself to an S-class criminal. And his hands were covered in blood up to the elbows. And his hand was holding hers now. You may be right, but now is not the place or time for this. And when will that time come? The war will end and Sakura-chan will return to Konoha. Are there not enough other girls? Yes, there are quite a few. But as for me, Sakura would suit you better. Why? She looks like me, and don't laugh. She's a strong and mature girl for her age, and Sasuke, no matter how hard he tries, is still a child. He still has to grow up, and she already needs support. What kind of support am I? My eyes are at their limit, and at any moment I could go blind and become a burden to her. Are you resisting again? Itachi, being blind doesn't mean becoming a burden. A girl needs someone who understands her. I think she needs you, even though she doesn't understand it. Talk to her and you'll understand that you're similar. You have the same look of a person who's lost everything and found a thread of new hope. Itachi, I'm not forcing you, but I can't just sit and watch you fade away. Just try to find a new meaning in life. I'll try. That's a clever boy. The woman smiled and patted him on the head in a motherly way. As she left, she looked at Uchiha and smiled. But could two cracked halves become one? From the author. Sorry for the delay, but circumstances and a romantic mood did not allow me to write what I wanted. My favorite FIC on this site recently ended and I was completely crushed. And I'm a layman in describing battles. I hope you don't mind this development. If anyone asks, Hinata has already given birth and gave birth to a boy. You will soon find out his name. I struggled with it for a long time. And the chapter came out longer than the previous one. The Book of the Path of Prophecy, The Age of Troubles. Chapter 2 The hospital was almost uninhabited. Most of the students were either on the battlefield or holed up in the main building, where they had set up a shelter. The academy itself became the headquarters and all the command was there. There was also a small hospital, which had already become boring for the girl, who was forbidden to leave the ward without an escort. But where could she find one if during the 3 days of her treatment, only 3 people came to see her? 2 nurses and a doctor, who already had too much to do to also give Sakura a tour. Let Uchiha take care of her. Sakura somehow heard the nurses whisper. He's not doing anything anyway. Yeah, otherwise he's sitting next to Sasuke-kun like a guard dog. Sasuke-kun needs peace and care. The second nurse giggled, not noticing the doctor who had come up from behind. Tamiki, Monako, Sasuke-kun needs peace and quiet, not 2 horny slackers. Get to work now. Having finally dispersed the girls, he entered the room to Sakura, who was stretching her numb limbs. "How are you feeling, Sakura-san?" "Fine. Do you have dizziness, nausea, headaches? Vision problems? Are your motor skills normal?" "I feel great." "That's good. I'm thinking of transferring you to the hospital." "Why is it so empty here?" "This is the school hospital. Almost all of our medics are on the front lines now." "Oh yeah, Sakura-san, Kyoshi-san wants to talk to you. He'll come see you later." "Who is this?" "You'll find out for yourself. I'm not in the mood for stories." The doctor smiled. "Apparently you don't know anything yet. So he'll tell you everything." "And Sasuke? Like Uchiha Sasuke? He hides from the nurses in every nook and cranny of the hospital. He is alive and well." Sakura sighed and asked to adjust the pillow. If Sasuke was okay, then her conscience was clear. Although why should she worry about him? "Don't disturb me." Naruto squeezed through the narrow passage of the cave and began to descend the stone steps into the very depths, where a pond shimmered faintly. He had found this place not so long ago, but he was sure that the cave was capable of much. The smooth, damp walls shimmered ominously with a bluish light emanating from the pond that was in the middle of the cave. In the middle of the pond there was a smooth stone, barely rising above the water. Barely wiping the silt from the walls, one could notice many drawings carved into the stone. The guy managed to examine most of them, and came to the conclusion that the history of his family was depicted on the walls. Multi-tailed foxes, richly dressed people and descriptions of techniques previously unknown to him. Almost immediately he made out a man in a mask, sitting in the lotus position. This drawing was the only one strewn with precious stones that mysteriously shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. In one hand he held a sword, and in the other an open fan. The man's skin was outlined with tattoos that were not hidden by his clothes. The only clothing he had on was a pair of hakama pants. But what caught the eye most were the man's eyes. They were not covered with the ripples of the Rinnegan, but with hundreds of precious diamonds of a pale blue color. The first of his kind, the white fox. Naruto stared at his ancestor for a moment, resisting the urge to touch the drawing. That wasn't why he came here. He came for advice. Jumping onto the rock, he sat in the lotus position and relaxed. "Taizo," he called out, and darkness enveloped his mind. Taijo was still sitting in the lotus position in space, and his eyes wandered mysteriously into the void until they saw Naruto. Smiling, he nodded. "I was waiting for you." "And I showed up," the guy echoed. "That means you will have to make a difficult choice again. Tell me, Taijo, is life possible without war? Are stars possible without the sky?" The sage asked with a smile. "War is the counterweight to peace. Without one, the other would not exist. War is disputes, and disputes are questions. But isn't the presence of questions development? And is life possible without development? Without movement? I don't understand." "Of course you don't understand. There is no war in you. No development. No movement. You have stopped developing. Stuck between the steps of life, figuratively speaking." "What do you mean by this?" "You are not getting old, my boy. You are young and pure, just like when we first met. You have not changed. Ordinary people change constantly. Am I not human anymore?" "Human." The sage smiled peacefully. "But the blood of Rod flows in you. Do not grieve in vain. Your fate is difficult, but remember that you write it yourself. My son. Let him decide his fate. Don't try to see the future, and don't stir up the past. White Fox, my ancestor, he also lived a long time, like me?" "Yes." "Is he alive now?" "Yes and no." "Naruto, you've already seen his drawings, haven't you?" "I found only one image." "Didn't you notice anything unusual?" Naruto thought. What was so unusual that he noticed? Taijo waited patiently, smiling serenely. Finally, the young man remembered what caught his eye. "Fox. The white fox is depicted without a guardian." The young man stated in amazement. "That's right. The white fox couldn't have it." "But how? Is it possible?" Naruto, the white fox himself, was a guardian. He was the first nine-tailed fox. In fact, he was not a human. Can't be. I know you're stunned, but it's true. Our ancestor is the nine-tailed demon fox. He had great power and, tired of life, divided it between his children. He didn't die, but you won't find him in this world either. Whose keeper was he? Alas, but even I do not know. That man's name is lost in history. The sage sighed sadly. Do not be afraid of war, my boy, be afraid of its consequences. Thank you, Teijodano. We'll see each other again. Naruto opened his eyes. His gaze fell on the image of his ancestor. Were the same doubts tormenting him? Brushing aside unnecessary thoughts, he straightened his shoulders and walked out of the cave. There was no room for doubt in war. Tatsu Squad to Square 48. Medics, retreat. Jun Squad, cover the retreat. Don't let a single Zetsu escape, or I'll personally twist your heads off. Mako, don't slack off. Shikamaru-san, they'd broken through to the left flank. Holding the line was incredibly difficult. Konoha and Daisuke's squads only had 50 shinobi, of which only 11 were Jonin level, and 30 were Chunin. At any other time, this would have been considered an advantage, but not now, when they were being pressed by two reincarnated and white Zetsu. Damn these bastards. Takaru, blow them up. But. Blow it up, I say. It will give us time. The tired but hopeful shinobi resumed their attack. Hawk wielded his blade like a madman, and the black flames burned tirelessly. Completely enraged, Hawk prepared to retreat, but a sandal that flew into his forehead prevented him from uttering the order to retreat. Dance, brother! The cavalry has arrived. And Kakura entered the battle. From _the _author. I'm _very_sorry _for _delay _I _only _posted _half _of _the _planned _chapter since I didn't keep and my nephew picked out it's said trouble I can only copy spaces paste pictures The Book of the Path of Prophecy, The Age of Troubles. Chapter 2 Part 2 There is no point in loving unless you intend to make that love last forever. Anna Jane. War is fear and despair. Naruto knew this better than anyone. He went into battle incognito, in the same uniform as his subordinates. He didn't even put on a mask, limiting himself to a scarf that hid half his face. In the assault group breaking through the enemy's rear, he felt confident and comfortable, because he was surrounded by his own students. Kamichi, Tadamaru, contact Torichiki, and Seoi. Motoki, take command. Soda, come with me. Yes, sir. Having split up, the shinobi headed to the previously agreed upon points. If all went well, they would be able to avoid casualties from the alliance. Naruto reached for his sword but immediately pulled his hand away from the bandaged pole. With Rai, everyone would recognize him, and he needed to get to the Kage unnoticed. Soda, a young shinobi with long blonde hair, was the youngest in his squad and was incredibly proud to be going with his idol. Despite his young age, he was a strong and smart guy who supported the ambitions of the White Fox. Soda, get ready. We're going to the Hokage. Why exactly to her? That's where I can help the most. Your job is to protect me. Got it? Yes, sir. Summon the six-winged ones. Using a summoning technique, Soda summoned two birds large enough to lift them into the air. The six-winged birds lifted them high into the sky, and following Soda's orders, carried them to the battlefield where Tsunade had already entered the fray. Naruto's plan was simple. Reach Tsunade and use Katsuyu to transfer his chakra to all the shinobi, which would provide them with protection from the white Zetsu, who were sensitive to his chakra. His only fear was that there wouldn't be enough chakra for everyone. There's the Hokage! Soda shouted over the wind. Are we descending? Stay in the sky. I'll jump. What should I do? Prepare that very seal and get ready for my signal. Remember your goal. I'm not sure I can. You can do it. I know it. And Naruto jumped off the bird. He landed on a high ledge, under which a field hospital was located. High, solid rocks protected the tents from enemy attacks. These rocks were familiar, because this was where he met Tsukumo. And then he saw Tsunade. Tired, but unharmed, she ran from tent to the wounded. He jumped to the ground and headed towards her. Because of the commotion, they did not even notice him, and most importantly, did not recognize him. And they will not recognize him until the time comes. Hokage-sama. He called. I was sent to help you. Who are you? I am a subordinate of the White Fox Army. Why alone? I alone can replace an entire army. He said it in a whisper, but everyone heard his voice. Take my chakra, Tsunade-sama, and you will be able to do a lot. Are you interested in my offer? Do I have a choice? Have you decided anything yet? Naruto asked mysteriously and told her his plan. Sota commanded the six-winged eagle to rise higher and fly away from the battlefield. The art of divine summoning required all of his concentration. He was still confident that his master could do a better job, but Naruto was needed elsewhere. However, no one else could do such a thing except Sota, whose clan had long been considered the best in summoning techniques. Well, Todo, can I do it? He asked the bird. Of course, you can't talk. And don't look at me like that. It's a shame I didn't fail the exams at the academy. And of course your name isn't Todo. The eagle gave a grumpy cry and shook its uncertain owner. Stop it. You know this has never happened before. It's one thing to summon you or Gamabunta, but summoning the ancestors of long-dead clans is something else entirely. The bird remained silent, because it was not sure of the boy's abilities either. He was undoubtedly talented, but summoning something that probably no longer existed was not an option. From a bird's eye view, Sota looked for a more or less quiet place where he could perform the summoning ritual. Naruto spent 10 years studying the history of his family. Thousands of books and scrolls told him a lot. Including about the Biju, that they were also guardians of their clans, that they also had ancestors. The very first Biju. The 9 elders who were once the rulers of this world. He learned their names and learned that they were once one. A single tree whose branches entangled the heavens, and whose roots stretched for many miles around. They cannot die, for they are life itself. They are the guardians of order. And only they can return everything to its place. But will they want to help us? But it was too late to retreat. And so far everything is going according to plan. Tsunade believed him, and now Katsuya was pumping his alliance shinobi chakra. Naruto had already heard the strongest entering the battle. Screams, explosions, pleas for help tormented his hearing. People were dying there, possibly his friends and students. If his plans were correct, Itachi and Sasuke would soon reach Kabuto, and when Obito decided that he had already won, the most unpredictable part of the plan would come into play. And he would deal with Madara himself. Little Katsuya, get into my pocket. What are you going to do, Shinobi-san? The snail asked, crawling into the inside of the vest. I'll go help fight. Don't worry. It won't affect the chakra flow. The camp did not notice his disappearance. He ran quickly towards the thick of the battle, where Madara was already frolicking. But his path was blocked by 3 people whose appearance he had not expected. The resurrected Momoko, Isami, and Kazuko. Older than then, their eyes expressed incomprehension of what was happening. Naruto stood rooted to the spot. He refused to believe what he saw. Kazuko attacked first. He parried the blow of her pole and dodged Isami's blow, hitting him in the stomach. Momoko attacked from behind, scratching his cheek with a kunai. The handkerchief flew off his face. Dad. Kazuko's eyes widened, but her body obeyed the technique and she continued to attack. You're alive. I wish I could say the same about you, Kazuko. Naruto twisted Momoko and threw her at Isami. A lot has happened over the years. But then. You died. You could say that. Uzumaki miraculously saved his head from being hit by Isami's sword. What's going on, teacher? This is war, Isami. The greatest shinobi in the world. You died over 150 years ago. But you're alive. Momoko was clearly resisting the subjugation technique. How is that possible? Momoko-chan, do you remember that conversation we had, the name of which we don't have time to talk about? I remember. I hid a lot from you. I didn't tell you a lot, including who I am. I regret that my egoism played a cruel joke on you. What are you talking about, Dad? Sorry, Kazuko, but now is not the time. I'll talk to you later, but now I'll seal you. Do you promise, Dad? I promise, my dear. Naruto formed the seals and hit the ground with them. Guardian Art, Soul Cage. A black vortex formed at his feet and sucked in the three resurrected. The fox stopped the technique and fell to his knees, feeling a sharp outflow of chakra. After catching his breath, he put on his mask. It was the first time he had used such a technique and was surprised that it was so voracious for chakra. And Naruto-kun, is it really you? Katsuya crawled out of his pocket. Are you alive? Little Katsuya, you're confusing me with someone else. I'm the White Fox. White Fox? It's because of Naruto that I can't take off my mask. You can't lie, Naruto-kun. Oh, Katsuya. Naruto died, and in return, the White Fox was born. Do you understand me? But everything will fall into place soon, Katsuya. Please, don't tell anyone. Everyone is sad about you. I know. I'm sad myself, but it's necessary now. You have changed. Everyone changes. In the distance, he saw Madara. His techniques were unmistakable. Katsuyu informed him that Kakura and her brother were fighting him. He hurried towards them, dodging the enemy attacks. He was needed there. Marais threw a kunai with explosive seals at Madara, followed by a fireball. Madara responded with a fire whirlwind. Even Kakura was afraid to interfere in their fierce battle. Madara playfully dodged Marais' attacks. I didn't expect to meet Uchiha. Madara parried Marissa's sword. I thought you were all killed. It's not only in Konoha that there are Uchihas, you walking corpse. And where did I miss you? Oh, you took care of it yourself. Weren't you the one who knocked up my mother? Marais barked angrily, dodging the fireball. Such power-hungry bastards are hardly capable of realizing their mistakes. Hold your horses, kid. Maris, calm down. Shut up, Kakura. I won't forgive him for abandoning his mother for a stupid idea of conquering the world. So you, Madara guessed. His eyes involuntarily retracted the Sharingan. Frozen in place, he peered into Marisa's facial features. You are mine, son? I'm also your son. Marais snapped. If you weren't such a moron, you would have found out earlier. And maybe you would still be alive. Calm down, Maris. Naruto's voice was calm, but at the same time it did not tolerate objections. I thought you would lose your temper. You. White Fox. You know me, right? Naruto wasn't particularly surprised. I didn't think I was that famous. Don't piss me off. Uchiha barked. Explain to me what all this means? Maybe Mina should explain everything to you? She's here, fighting, like everyone else. Mine here? The Sharingan in his eyes activated. TCH. Stubborn fool. In an instant, Madara disappeared. Naruto guessed why, and prudently slapped Maurice on the back of the head. The guy understood that Madara was not a threat now. He was more worried about Obito, who had already begun the fusion of the tailed beasts. A tree without branches with a huge flower bud on top rose above the battlefield. But where from? After all, the eight-tailed and Fudo were not captured. It can't be. Kakura's voice trembled. Is that possible? Forget about Madara and evacuate the people from the tree. Naruto shouted, drawing his sword. I'll go there alone. Marie, launch the fire dragon into the sky. For what? Do as you are told. Now there is no need to hide. From the author. Unfortunately, there are 2 chapters left before the ending, not counting this one. I cried into my pillow for days, trying to stretch it out to at least 5 chapters, but I don't like to drag out the plot. But I can also make you happy that I have already started writing a sequel to the FIC called New Leaves, but I haven't decided yet whether to post it in this FIC or as a separate work. Let me remind you that the sequel is written about Makoto, Naruto's son, and his friends. I'm keeping the plot a secret for now, although I have already written 3 chapters. I am so absorbed in this sequel that writing the main work is difficult for me, and after watching one anime I have an attack of vulgarity, so wait for another hentai FIC based on the anime Project K. Oh, how ashamed I am to write this. I write and laugh like a hysteric. Okay, wish me luck. P.S. I'm sick and I'm sitting at home this week, so the next chapter will appear very quickly. A small announcement from the author Dear readers, I finally found a job and I'm really pressed for time. I understand that I'll offend you with these words, but the continuation will drag on a bit. But so that you don't get bored, I'm posting a few chapters of the sequel I mentioned earlier on the site. Here's the link. http://ficbook.net/readfic/1094473 The Book of the Path of Prophecy, The Age of Troubles. Chapter 3 Get up, it's not time to grieve. What happened can't be changed. It's time for you to become a hero. Save everything you believe in. Those who have read the Eternal Trilogy will understand. He met Obito at the very tree, whose crown majestically towered over the battlefield. The distraught Uchiha barely controlled himself, fighting against 3 Kage. Stopping for a moment, Naruto admired the coordinated attack of the Kage. But no matter how hard they tried, Obito remained unharmed. The Rai in his hands pulsed, as if transmitting its impatience to its owner. Having waited for a moment, he squeezed himself between Gaara and the Mizukage, taking Obito's blow, parrying it to the side. White Fox! The Kazekage exclaimed. Out of the way! Naruto stood up, blocking the Kage from Obito. He's mine, and you take care of the resurrected ones. Who do you take us for, kid? Sachikage flared up. I may be older than you, but that's not the point. Kano's 14th path, Living Rain. A whirlwind of natural chakra spun Obito, hitting him against a tree. Only I can use natural chakra that can catch the Uchiha. Bastard! Obito yelled, releasing a tailed beast bomb at the fox. Die! Watch out! Naruto dodged, pushing Gaara away. He's completely crazy. We need to hold out for another 10 minutes and Sota will make it. Manage to what? Asked the Mizukage. What trump card do you have up your sleeve, White Fox? You'll see for yourself if my plan works. Naruto answered uncertainly. I can defeat Obito with my own strength, but then the tree won't have enough strength. Then what are we capable of? The Sachikage yelled, attacking Obito. Do you not value us at all? Can you seal all the tailed beasts at once? Naruto asked reasonably. Get out of here, or you'll get hit. You have no lack of impudence, Fox, the Mizukage burst out laughing. But how do you intend to defeat Obito? Have you heard this saying? The fox chuckled. 80% of the fox's cunning depends on the chicken's stupidity. Crazy. Gaara muttered, watching him run up the tree, fighting Obito. I think we should listen to him and hurry to help the army. What are you saying? Sachikage flared up. Our people need us, the Kazekage said confidently and turned to the army. Let's hurry and end this war. Die, Fox. Wake up, Obito. Naruto appealed to the Uchiha's conscience for the last time. You'll ruin everyone. I will create a new world. Tell me, Obito, what is peace for you? Why the questions, White Fox? I just want to understand you. You fight so hard, talking about peace, but you sow chaos, giving birth to death and hatred. Are you talking about peace for everyone or just for yourself? Will you sacrifice yourself for the so-called peace or will you pave the way for it with mountains of corpses? Ah, is that what you're getting at? Uchiha smiled crookedly. And what is the world to you? I asked first, but I will answer anyway. For me, peace is the smiles of those who are dear to me. It is when people are waiting for me at home. It is when my students have somewhere to return to, they have a goal. It is when lonely people find their other halves and when children have both parents. Peace is peace in the soul and hope for the future. How naive. I agree, it's naive, but you still haven't answered my question. For me, peace is the absence of pain. A utopia where everyone is happy and there is no war. Without pain you won't understand all the charm of life itself. Life is movement, feelings, decisions, hopes and dreams, victories and defeats. And you want to ruin everything. I have lived a long life and realized that good and evil are inseparable. You speak beautifully. Obito openly mocked. But your family was created to bring peace. My lineage lived for his balance, Obito. Naruto said quietly but clearly. Stop. Or you will die. I'm going to die anyway, so the devil, a strange hum interrupted his speech. What's going on? An unimaginable roar filled the battlefield and the roar of the beast rolled over the ground. The ground shook and the roar was heard a second time. An explosion was heard a mile away and snow-white tails emerged from the clouds of dust and smoke. The monster that emerged from the smoke was huge, which gave everyone a good look at it. It was a 9-tailed demon fox, but Naruto noticed that it was even bigger than Fudo. Its snow-white tails dispersed the air, tearing out trees along with their roots. The fox jumped and landed on the battlefield. Was it you who called me? Someone's voice rang out in Naruto's head. Why did you wake me up? Kuramadano, I need your help. Pathetic human. Child of my withered flesh, do you even know what you have done by summoning me? The fox's scarlet eyes pierced Naruto with a piercing gaze. I sense her power in you, and this time I forgive you. Speak your will and let me sleep again. Leaving the stunted world. What have I done? Naruto thought involuntarily, but quickly came to his senses. Kuramadano, help me end this war and save the lives of innocent people. Lend me your power. If you hadn't given almost all of your chakra to those monkeys, you would have won without my help. The fox's consciousness growled thoughtfully. Naruto felt Katsuya nervously shrink in his pocket. I give you my power, boy. I will help this time, but this conversation is not over yet. The white fox roared deafeningly, sending Obito flying with a sound wave. The battlefield froze, and the world lost all sound and color for a moment. The white fox reached out with its paw to Naruto, and white chakra enveloped him, pulling him into the body of the monster. A second shockwave rang out, and Naruto's consciousness faded. The last thing he heard were his own words, spoken many years ago. I will definitely find the world, and when I do, I will grab it and never let it go, and a ray of consciousness left his body. And someone's voice answered tenderly, albeit belatedly. Sleep well, Naruto-chan. He woke up in a place that was vaguely familiar, but he was sure that he had never been there before. A sunlit meadow with many flowers inspired calm with its very appearance. His body relaxed from the warmth and comfort. Naruto's thoughts crawled lazily in his head, not lingering on anything in particular. Young grass tickled his palms and face, and the young man belatedly realized that he was no longer wearing a mask, and the battle had disappeared somewhere. Someone's laughter, like silver bells, drove away his worries. Next to him sat a woman with long gray hair, which, shimmering with silver, covered her back in waves and touched the ground. She was beautiful and reminded the young man of Kushina, although she was nothing like her. The woman knelt down in front of him and smiled affectionately, as if she saw an old friend. And here you are. I knew we would meet. Who are you? Naruto barely recognized his own voice, hoarse and tired. Where am I? What do you think, Naruto? The woman asked cheerfully. What do you think this place is? I have no idea. Who are you? My name means nothing to you, Naruto, but I will answer anyway. My name is Tora. Many centuries ago I became the wife of Kuramadano. With your wife? Don't be so surprised, my boy. The woman smiled. It's a very long story, and we don't have much time. Why not enough? What happened? It's strange that you ask. After all, you know everything perfectly well. Naruto frowned in concentration as he recalled what had happened. He remembered how the white fox had devoured him. So this place, Naruto began to guess. Looking around, he panicked. Where is Fudo? Yes, it's your subconscious, the woman nodded. It must have changed a lot since you last looked in here. Fudo is here with you, but he shouldn't interfere with our conversation. Don't worry, he and your comrades will be fine. That's good. But what are you doing in my subconscious? When Kurama-sama accepted your call, I seized the moment to speak with you. Many years have passed since I had the opportunity to speak with someone. I watched this world for many years. Watched people and their history. Watched how our kind withered and dried up. How there were fewer and fewer of us, until all the guardians died out and the last one fell into madness. And I saw the future of our kind, where the guardians would rise from oblivion again. I saw you, with your rebellious nature and brave heart. You reminded me so much of my son that I could not resist and reached out to you. And I saw your death. My fear was so great that I reached out with my consciousness to Teijo, to the last of our kind whose blood was pure. After that, I stopped seeing you in my visions. It was as if you disappeared, leaving nothing behind. I am so glad that you survived and revived the memory of us. I don't understand what you're talking about. You will understand in time. I have come to give you my final prophecy. Listen and heed. The woman sighed and spoke monotonously and mysteriously. At the sunset of the 15th spring, our first son will be reborn, having absorbed the radiance of the moon. A little later, our second child will be reborn, having acquired the will of fire. And their forgotten dispute, forgotten since ancient times, will flare up. And their bonds, stronger than steel, will endure the heat of fire. And only time will tell what they will do. Will the peace be preserved, or will war come? Only one thing is clear. They will go different ways. One will go for strength, and the other for dreams. Do not forget my words and go in peace, my boy. You have already sown the seeds of a new era. Flowers are about to sprout. Farewell, my unborn son. The woman's silhouette began to fade, and the meadow began to lose its colors. Naruto shouted, "Wait, don't disappear," but something pushed him out of the meadow, returning him to the battlefield. What's happened? Naruto's body swayed, suddenly feeling incredibly tired. His lungs were on fire, and his joints were cracking as if they had been hit with a hammer. He could barely see anything. Black clouds floated before his eyes, and his ears were buzzing like an explosion. He would have fallen, but something was holding him up. I helped you, boy. Something rumbled in my consciousness. Now I will leave this world forever. And remember, do not call me anymore, or you will regret it. But I am merciful and pleased with your actions. And therefore I grant you life and my last gift. I made a mistake in leaving this world, but I cannot stay. Therefore, I leave you the right to own the family, and I give you my power. Revive the family and correct my mistakes. Find the temple of knowledge and you will gain wisdom. I do not say goodbye, Naruto, for at the end of your path we will meet again. And we will leave this world as equals. Naruto finished. Thank you, Kurama-dano. Sleep, baby. How is he? He's getting better, someone's voice answered cheerfully. Sensei is no wimp. Don't shout, Kakura. Someone hissed reproachfully. Sensei needs peace. And also a good kick in the ass for almost dying again. Mother. Don't be a mother. This blonde bastard didn't say a word about his plans and almost killed everyone at once. Please, be quiet. The third voice begged. No way. Mine got fired up. Let him wake up and experience my wrath. Mom, please. Mine-sama. Yes, I woke up, Naruto muttered tiredly, opening one eye. Calm down, mine. Let's put off the showdown for later. No way. Explain to us what the hell you were doing. What kind of monster did you summon? Where's Soda? The guy asked indifferently, ignoring Mine's question. Is he okay? He's aged 10 years, but he's still alive and well, Kakura smiled. Don't avoid the conversation. Mine was angry. What were you doing there? And how are the people? Naruto ignored the woman again. Is everyone alive? The losses are not significant. This is good. Kyoshiro Michio. Mine roared, intending to hit the impudent fellow. I'm kind of hungry, Naruto smiled tensely, making seals. I'll go have some fun. The boy had managed to disappear in a cloud of smoke before Mine had shattered the bed with one blow. Kakura looked at Chizu silently. It was worth reminding Sensei that he was lying there in his underwear. Chizu blushed. What will people think when they see him? Too bad he's not naked. Mine growled, rubbing her fist. Let's go, girls. We still have a lot of work to do. Thanks to your sensei, we'll have to help the alliance until things settle down. And Chizu, find Maris and tell her that Lise has come to his senses. The woman came out of the tent and looked back, hastily wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes. Her heart was at peace for the first time. The war had retreated, leaving behind ruins, but everything was still ahead. She looked at the sunset, remembering Madara. He had appeared right in front of her then. Their conversation had been long and difficult. There was much to remember and much to discuss. Mine admitted to herself that she no longer held a grudge against him. She forgave him and let him go from her heart. He had left, right before the monster had appeared. But he had not left as an enemy. Who knows what happened to him? Whether he had disappeared with the other resurrected or had escaped that fate, Mine did not know, but she was sure that she would never see him again. Goodbye, she whispered. And thank you. Her words were lost in the rays of the setting sun. She turned and walked along the camp, heading towards the fallen tree trunk. A new day was coming, and with it a new era. From the author. This is the last chapter of the fanfic. Wait for the epilogue and new chapters of the Book of the Path of Prophecy, New Green Leaves. Don't forget to like. I wanted to write something more grandiose, but alas, I don't have the gift of storytelling and enough time. I'm working now and there is little time left for anything. I hope you liked my fanfic. The end. Rule over death and fleeting life. And death will die, but you will remain forever. See, Shakespeare. Several years have passed since those events. Naruto never told anyone what happened to him at that decisive moment. Countries were rebuilding, and people were recovering from the recent events. As promised, the city of Tokara gained autonomy, and the location of Daisuke's academy remained a secret. The academy's shinobi left as soon as the alliance's condition stabilized. The resurrection technique ceased to work and the resurrected ones left this world. Only Madara and Naruto's students remained to exist. How Madara managed it, no one knew. Many died in that war. According to official estimates, about 500 shinobi. The alliance did not last long. As soon as everything had settled down, the Kage found new reasons to quarrel, and their relations returned to their previous course. But still, everything was going as well as possible. The White Fox kept the peace, and was not going to give up his positions yet. The hardest thing for him was to face his students Isami, Momoko, and especially Kazuko. His heart was torn apart, seeing their current state. Not a day went by that he didn't think about them. There were too many misunderstandings left from their last meeting. There were too many questions and secrets. And he opened up to them, causing not fear and anger, but understanding and pride. You were still the best father, these were the last words Kazuko said before she left this world after Isami and Momoko. Sasuke stayed in Daisuke, although the walls of the academy could not detain him for long. A year later, Uchiha left it, going to find his own way. His team Taka left after him, under the dissatisfied grumbling of Suigetsu. Itachi did not leave the academy, becoming the new teacher there instead of Mina, who after all the events decided to devote all her time to her husband and grandchildren. Kakura almost immediately ran away to Konoha, having learned about her mother's intentions to re-educate the prodigal daughter. Years passed. Naruto raised his son, and soon he was happy with a second son. He remembered the prophecy of the demon fox and began searching for the ancient library. Moreover, he had other reasons to seek help from the source of wisdom of his people. He searched for the blood of his kind, and found them. Besides him, 2 more survived. Karen, who had gone with Sasuke, and a boy barely older than his son Makoto. Although it would be more accurate to say that the mother of this child found him herself. Konan, Nagato's former partner, told Naruto the true story of the dead shinobi. Having given Naruto her son, she left. A month later, she died, withered from her illness, and leaving behind a bitter legacy. Hinata walked into her husband's Oval Office without knocking. 1-year-old Menma was sleeping peacefully in his arms. Naruto, hunched over a pile of yellowed scrolls, didn't even notice her. "Naruto, the boys miss you." "Ah." The man jumped up, dropping a pile of maps and scrolls on the floor. "Sorry, my dear, I didn't hear you come in. Got carried away. You've been sitting here for 3 days now without leaving. Everyone is worried." "Oh, no need." Naruto looked around the room sleepily. "Although I need to rest." "How are the boys?" "Oh, this Makoto. Have you done something wrong again?" "No, what are you saying?" Hinata smiled. "He's smart beyond his years. You'll have to work hard on a gift for him." "Oh yeah, birthday. It completely slipped my mind. I hope you still remember that it's tomorrow." The girl frowned sternly. "Makoto hopes that you will be the first to congratulate him." "Oh." He smiled. "You don't have to worry about that. I'm sure he'll take care of it himself at 4 in the morning. I have no doubt, but I hope at that time you will be in bed and not here." "I'm already on my way. I was going to go to bed anyway." Looking sleepily around the office, Naruto gathered the scrolls into a pile and followed Hinata. He didn't even notice how dark it was. He wanted to sleep terribly, but heavy thoughts did not leave him. The prophecy frightened him. The only way to find out everything was to find the lost library. He read many scrolls. Deciphered hundreds of records from the library's hiding places. Learned what was previously hidden and what should be hidden further. But the only mention of the library said that it was located among the black waters of the ocean, but no coordinates or clues about the exact location were found. He couldn't comb the entire ocean, could he? Turning on his side, he smiled, seeing the face of the sleeping Hinata. No, he can't give up. He will do everything to protect her. Raising his hand to the ceiling, he looked at her. While the changes in his body were unnoticeable, they were irreversible. What happened that day began to change his body in an unknown way. His hair began to turn gray, and his nails changed their shape, turning into claws. He dyed his hair in secret from everyone, but no file could fight the claws anymore. Naruto stood up and walked over to Menma's crib. The black-haired boy was snoring, clutching the edges of the blanket in his fists. His chubby face was adorned with the same stripes as his father. He had inherited his father's blue eyes, but his personality was somewhat similar to his mother's. He was quiet and modest, the complete opposite of the energetic and inquisitive Makoto. What would the future hold for these boys? What would they bring into this world? Mornings don't start with coffee. This has been the credo of the Uzumaki family for 8 years now. For the 8th year, mornings start with Makoto waking up. Today was a special day, and the boy outdid himself by waking up at 4 in the morning, waking everyone else up. Grumbling and cursing, Teijo, with whom Makoto shared his room, also woke up. A pillow thrown at the curly-haired one didn't save the Rinnegan carrier from a happy cry of finally. Screaming and jumping around the room, the boy hurriedly got dressed, rushing to make happy the whole world. Makoto ran into his parents' room, lowering his decibels and tiptoed to their bed. Teijo was quietly waiting by the door, curiously peering into the crib. Little Menma was already awake, curiously looking at him, sitting up in his crib, clinging to the bars of the crib with his chubby fists. "Dap." Makoto leaned over his father's ear and, trying not to scream, whispered loudly. "Daya." "Well, wake up." "Dap." "Dad." "Ugh, Makoto." Naruto muttered, grabbing his son's fair head. "I know today is an important day, but was it really necessary to wake everyone up at 4 in the morning?" "Yes." Makoto announced with a beaming smile, showing the hole from his lost tooth. "What will you give me?" "Fee." The man almost laughed, patting his son on the head. "What a rascal. You'll get the gift in front of everyone, period." I've been telling you this for a whole week. Well, at least tell me what it is. The boy demanded, jumping with impatience. Well, please. No, Makoto. The father said sternly, flicking his son on the forehead. And since everyone is awake, let's get to training. Hi. After saluting like a soldier, Makoto ran out of the room, almost crashing into the door frame. Yoo-hoo. Oh, this Makoto. Naruto-san, I'll take Menma, and you go to sleep. Thank you, Teijo. Naruto smiled. And stop using your formal name. You're like a son to me. The boy blushed in embarrassment and smiled timidly. Taking Menma in his arms, he hurried after Makoto. How similar the boy was to Nagato. Especially in appearance. Except that his hair was longer, although Hinata regularly cut the boy's bangs, opening his eyes. She tried to tame the boy not to be embarrassed by her eyes, but all in vain. Teijo was an incredibly timid and stubborn boy. Even though he was 3 years older than Makoto, the shaggy-haired lively boy was clearly the leader in their friendship. Naruto even found this amusing. Remembering the story told by Konan, he realized that Makoto was to Teijo what Yahiko was to Nagato. Teijo would always put his friend's interests above his own. Naruto yawned and summoned Fudo. Makoto again? Uh-huh. Will you keep an eye on the boys? No problem. How are the searches going? No way. Are you sure you don't know about this repository of knowledge? I heard about him in my youth, but these were only fairy tales and I have already retold them to you. Don't worry. We will find a stronghold of knowledge. But how long will it take? A year? 10 years? And who knows what will happen during that time? What will happen to Makoto and Menma? And what about Teijo? They'll be fine. Fudo stepped softly across the threshold. As long as their hearts are full of love, they won't fall into darkness. Naruto couldn't know the future. Looking at his sons, he was sure of one thing. Wherever the future took them, they would always be together. At the sunset of the 15th spring, our first son will be reborn, having absorbed the radiance of the moon. A little later, our second child will be reborn, having acquired the will of fire. And their forgotten dispute, forgotten since ancient times, will flare up. And their bonds, stronger than steel, will pass through the heat of fire. And only time will tell what they will do. Will the peace be preserved, or will war come? One thing is clear. They will go their separate ways. One will go for strength, and the other for dreams.